Chapter 639, Repercussion. Chapter 639, Repercussion. Yan's negative field affected Comoros, Cassidy, and Ivision, the three true god realm warriors of the pagan tribes. Their minds were blurry, which subdued their energy altogether. These three true god realm warriors of the alien tribes had been worn out over 10,000 years. Their power had been damaged badly, or perhaps they were hurt before, and were yet to recover fully. Comoros' team had high realms, but the energy accumulated in their bodies was far behind the human experts at the same realm, such as Yunhao or Qingu Chuan. Without the support from Bao Ao and experts of the Corpse Clan, the Ghostmark clan in the Shady Firmament Old Mound could never destroy the entire Spirit Treasure sect. With insufficient energy, they couldn't bring out their competence well. Of course, they couldn't show the ability of their realms. Comoros had the cultivation base at the third sky of True God Realm, but he got the most wounded body that year, and he hadn't recovered fully until now. At most, he could endure a fight with Yunhao, but he would fall in a disadvantaged situation for sure. Cassidy and Ivision were at the second sky of True God Realm, but their real competence was only equal to Chu Baiqing. Otherwise, Fiery Dragon and Bloodmaned wouldn't have been able to subdue them. The Dark Spirit clan and the Ghostmark clan were the strong tribes in the antiquity time. If they had restored their powers to their peak, Yang Tian Emperor, Fiery Dragon, and Bloodmaned would have never been their opponents. Yan walked calmly in the void. Ash-gray smoke moved around him, as thick as the steam above the lake. He surprised people a lot. Comoros, Cassidy, and Ivision had their minds occupied by the negative field, which made them forget to use the fighting method they understood the best. They were instinctively urging the energy in their bodies to counter, which wasn't a good move. Ghostmark clan's members fell and exploded one by one along with Yan's steps. Their essence chi and souls were absorbed completely by him. Aha! A desperate, mournful roar came out from the mouth of the last warrior of the Ghostmark clan at first sky of Spirit Realm. His voice was like a sharp weapon that could shake people's hearts. Comoros was baffled. A strange light sparkled in his sleeve all of a sudden. The written charm scripture flew out, releasing an immense, gray mist, covering Cassidy, Comoros, and Ivision altogether. Comoros almost awakened instantly, his eyes clear and calm. As soon as he woke up, he found all of his clansmen accompanying him had exploded to death. They were just pieces of meat and blood puddles now. Comoros' eyes reddened instantly. Earth Spirit Bind. He let out a low cry that was almost inaudible. The sound wave from his mouth stormed into the written charm scripture. Numerous eccentric ghost scripture on the written charm scripture started to move. Mysterious chi overflowed from the scripture, blending with Comoros' energy. Flows of soul energy also reached Comoros' sea of consciousness. A strange, invisible aura diffused from Comoros. His reddened eyes became clear again. He held the written charm scripture, moving his hands to form some hand seals while continually muttering something under his breath. Yang Tian Emperor was attacking Cassidy furiously. All of a sudden, his bloody body trembled as fine cracks appeared on his blood-red armor. Numerous ghost symbols of the written charm scripture flew up to the sky, arraying a magical word formation. It was like the writing of some mysterious technique that furiously absorbed the energy of heaven and earth, converting it into chi. Countless five-colored ghost writings appeared in the sky from thin air, interweaving with each other and creating the seal of an ancient barrier. A strange, invisible energy was generated. Even though they couldn't see the attack or impact, the armor covering Yang Tian Emperor's chest cracked at a speed naked eyes could observe. It seemed ready to explode shortly. Yang Tian Emperor was sinking in his slaughtering, but he suddenly awakened. His bloody body shook violently. Although Comoros' power had been decreased dramatically compared to his peak state, he was still a true God realm expert. This time, he was determined to use the accumulated energy of the written charm scripture to make up for his energy shortage. Eventually, he could use the power that he could bring out when he was at his peak state. Fiery Dragon and Bloodmaned were impacted. Blood splashed from their giant bodies. Those Ghostmark clan symbols seemed to cut them too. The two experts of the monster clan screeched. They hastened to shrink their bodies, transforming to human form to minimize the impact. Komaros stooped with a cold face while his hands were constantly making hand seals, pouring into the written charm scripture. The written charm scripture sparkled, releasing so many magical symbols dancing in the air. They arrayed a strange ghost scripture formation, creating a terrifying restraining and cutting energy. Young Tian Emperor couldn't move anymore. He halted in the void as pain transgressed over his entire body like a surging tide. Fiery Dragon and Blood-Maned didn't dare to act recklessly. They used the rigid body of the monster clan to resist. Their blood and flesh mixed, bringing an extreme pain that they'd rather die than endure. Just like them, Shiryen was affected, his body cut by some invisible threads. However, unlike to young Tian Emperor, Fiery Dragon, and Blood-Maned, he didn't scream in pain. He just frowned and stayed calm as usual. The others didn't know when his body started to glow with a golden halo. At first glance, he looked like a freak that was molded from pure gold. After that, the invisible ghost scripture formation couldn't cut through his body. He suddenly got it as he finally recognized the effects of the golden marrow of the golden giant, which had promoted its effects in his body. This kind of defense was unbreakable, even dissolving Komaros' mysterious attack. Seeing Yang Tian Emperor, Fiery Dragon, and Blood-Maned unable to resist the formation anymore, Shiryen contemplated and then touched his chest. The star original essence he had absorbed into his heart looked like the most glorious big diamond as it flew out under the star powers driving and struck towards Komaros. The boundless sky where stars shone dazzlingly seemed to expand further. A downpour of starlight from the sky looked like a big river pouring into the star original essence. Shiryen was struggling, using his soul to manipulate the star original essence as it approached closer to Komaros. Just like ranges of mountains collapsing at the same time, the small star original essence bloomed out a formidable pressure, which made Komaros pale in fear. The star original essence was the intrinsic nature of the stars in the sky. It was much heavier than it looked. A fist-sized star original essence could be heavier than 10 mountains. Under such pressure, Komaros couldn't hold his fort. Crack, crack, crack. The star original essence was pressing to the point that even space was about to crack. The cracking sounds echoed in the void, making people's hearts shiver. The mountain-like pressure covered the entire space. Even the true God realm warriors like Cassidy felt his body getting unusually heavy, his soul stagnant. Komaros mused on the star original essence, then quickly urged his energy to counter. Ultimately, he couldn't stand it anymore, retreating the ghost symbols in the sky into the written charm scripture. He was struggling hard to stand still. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. 3 snow-white bone thorns glided through space and appeared simultaneously behind Komaros, Cassidy, and Ivision, stabbing them violently. Puff, puff, puff. 3 bone thorns were refined from the bones of the level 10 beast. They attacked the 3 aliens from their backs, but 2 of them couldn't pierce through Komaros and Ivision. However, blood gushed out from their mouths. Cassidy's situation was the most pitiful. A bone thorn pierced through his chest from his back. His heart was torn, and his life was sliding away from him. Cassidy couldn't endure anymore. Komaros's face grimaced. He roared and crazily shouted as he was about to strike a fatal attack. Fiery Dragon and Blood-Maned stormed over with their bloody bodies. Their ferocious instinct had been stimulated. They wanted to pull Komaros and kill him. Go! Ivision shouted. Komaros was struck. He swung the written charm scripture in his hand to collect Cassidy's god soul. Then, he urged the written charm scripture the second time to pull Ivision into the scripture too. A marvelous wave of energy shot out from the written charm scripture. Komaros and Ivision shrank rapidly inside that energy wave, as countless dazzling beams interweaved in layers of space next to them. The others then saw their bodies shrink until they were as big as a light. They then disappeared into thin air like dust. Fiery Dragon and Blood-Maned swarmed over, but they found that Komaros and Ivision had disappeared completely. They left nothing behind, not even a wave of soul energy. Lying in that place was only the body of Cassidy, which was pierced through. His god soul had been collected and kept in the Een-written charm scripture. The Een-written charm scripture was the Halidom of the Ghostmark clan at the divine grade. Komaros using the scripture to escape in just a blink was something Shiryan's team had never thought about, and they could only watch the others leave. Damn the Ghostmark clan! Fiery Dragon roared indignantly while blood still dripped from his body. He has given me bad wounds. I'm so unlucky. Bloodmaned also had so many open cuts on his body. Even the steel-like bodies of the monster clan couldn't endure Komaros' furious attack. Young Tian Emperor's eyes restored their natural look. In the other's eyes, he was just a bloody skeleton. Without blood and flesh, he looked pitiful and scary at the same time. At first glance, Shiryan understood that Yang Tian Emperor was hurt badly. Even if he could receive treatment timely, he couldn't recover in just a short time. Burning his god blood and his own flesh and blood to urge all the potential power of his body, young Tian Emperor had burst out a formidable power. However, it was beyond his endurance. And Komaros had attacked him, cracking his armor. Dishan, Li Zhengrong, Ji Mu, and Yuing were hiding at a far distance and observing the situation. At this moment, they finally got the guts to step over, looking at Yang Tian Emperor with a frightened but respectful expression. How are you? Shiryan moved, walking towards Yang Tian Emperor. He asked while taking in the essence chi from Cassidy. I got hurt badly, and I can't recover in a short time. Yang Tian Emperor's voice seemed to sound from his throat, which was really bizarre. However, after this fight, my understanding of the power of desperation has reached a whole new world. If nothing unexpected happens when I'm healed, my realm will increase too. Shiryan was struck with joy as a light flashed across his head. Great-grandpa, don't worry. I'll make you recover fast, really fast. Chapter 640, Demon Clan? God Clan? Chapter 640, Demon Clan? God Clan. The area by the lake became quiet again. Fiery Dragon and Bloodmane transformed into their beast shape, balling their bodies near the lake to heal themselves in silence. The two level 9 hotshots were using the secret techniques of the Demon Clan to gather heaven and earth spiritual chi. Dishan, Li Zhengrong, Yu Ying, and Ji Mu, the 4 spirit realm warriors, kept silent, but many thoughts were moving in their heads. Shiryan was standing next to Yang Tian Emperor. Yang Tian Emperor was now a bloody skeleton. After his insanity had subsided, he was exhausted. The ferocious, wild aura he possessed had settled. From deep inside his eyes, people could see that he was fatigued. Shiryan sat neatly. His face was indifferent, his eyes slightly squinted. The tentacles, jutting out from his acupuncture points, had retreated. They were shaking inside his acupuncture points to filter the energy. Trying to press down the craziness in his heart, he sent his thought to the star original essence, using its power to clear his mind and purify his soul. This way, he could keep himself safe from the negative energy side effects. He had used the star original essence to understand the star power. His star martial spirit had a new breakthrough, which promoted his realm to the 3rd sky of spirit realm. As he had many boosts, when he entered the 3rd sky of spirit realm, he could bring out the power of a true god realm warrior, which helped him seize the upper hand while fighting with Komaros. Feeling the energies in his body calm down, Shiryan used his soul consciousness to sense, and saw his unbreakable golden skeleton. The golden marrow of the golden giant's bones had improved his body's durability to another level. Now it was inconceivably rigid. His petrification martial spirit had obviously surpassed the barrier that the Shi family had always encountered. After the second breakthrough, even Shi Jian couldn't imagine his situation at this moment. Thanks to all sorts of fortuitous encounters, he had been able to resist Komaro's attack with a body that would never be broken. He could also stabilize his mind and attack Komaros, making him run away in fear. Today, he had the cultivation base at the 3rd sky of spirit realm and an incomparable body. His negative energy was tremendous. He had a new breakthrough in his martial spirits, along with the undying body of the Yang family. The combination of these miraculous abilities gave him the foundation to deal with higher realm warriors. Quieting down his emotions, Shiyan used the mysterious martial spirit he had gotten the first to refine the essence chi that he had absorbed. The negative emotions generated from this process were pressed down by his brave and persistent will. As he felt the torrential storms in his acupuncture points, he calmed his mind and emptied it. After an unknown period, he woke up, putting 2 hands on Yang Tian Emperor all of a sudden. Yang Tian Emperor's bloody body was shaken, while a divine light bloomed out from his eyes. He couldn't help but let out a low shout. "Little Yen, you can't." Yang Tian Emperor could feel a mysterious energy from Shiyan's palms. This energy quickly merged with his essence chi and combined with his blood, bringing formidable energy fluctuations to help him condense the immortal blood once again. This massive energy was rolling into Yang Tian Emperor's body, making him feel as if his body was soaked in a hot spring. It was so comfortable that he almost groaned. However, he shortly restrained his joy, as he thought that if he absorbed this energy, Shiyan would have to consume his own energy massively. Thus, he didn't want to take it in, and even wanted to stop receiving it unilaterally. "Don't move," Shiyan shouted, talking in a serious tone. "Great-grandpa, I don't need this energy. If I want it, I can always obtain it quite easily. I have a magical martial spirit which helps me not to worry about lacking energy forever." Having heard him, Yang Tian Emperor's bloody skeleton trembled. Although Shiyan didn't say it clearly, Yang Tian Emperor could understand the hidden meaning in his words. He would never have to worry about lacking energy. How dangerous it was to go against the natural order like that. He suddenly recognized why Shiyan could progress that fast, entering the new realms before his estimated time. Apparently, it was related to the martial spirit Shiyan had just mentioned. "You should take in this energy. It will be handy to your body now," Shiyan continued to mutter. "I don't need it now. Even if I need it, it's as easy as a piece of cake to obtain it again." Yang Tian Emperor contemplated for a while and then received the energy from him with joy. Shiyan suddenly felt the power he had been pouring into Yang Tian Emperor's body flow smoothly. He knew Yang Tian Emperor agreed to receive it. Soon, the mysterious energy refined by his acupuncture points all poured into Yang Tian Emperor's body. Yang Tian Emperor started to condense the immortal blood again. Next, he used his immortal blood to perform the immortal rebirth secret of the Yang family to grow his flesh again, connecting his broken vessels and tendons. After 4 hours, Yang Tian Emperor had become a lively human again from a bloody skeleton. Di Shan, Li Zhengrong, Yu Ying, and Ji Mu stood not far from them. They all gawked in fear but didn't know what to say. Yang Tian Emperor had used the immortal martial spirit of the Yang family to its peak ability. He had used the immortal blood to grow his flesh again. This miracle was beyond their knowledge. Only Shiyan knew that after each time their bodies were annealed by the immortal rebirth secret, they would surpass the tenacious level of the previous bodies, which would facilitate the growth of their powers. After each time of rebirth, their bodies would change completely. When Yang Tian Emperor recovered, the tenacity of his body leaped up by a big part compared to the previous one. Moreover, Yang Tian Emperor had also broken through to the 3rd sky of Spirit Realm after this event. "I want to stay quiet for a little bit." After Yang Tian Emperor had recovered his body, he uttered simply while joy could be seen on his face. Shiyan reacted immediately and used to earth flame to create the passage leading to the bottom of the lake. He brought Yang Tian Emperor there, followed by Di Shan and Li Zhengrong. Now, Shiyan, Fiery Dragon, Bloodmaned, and Yu Ying, Ji Mu, who came from the Ice and Fire secret domain, were standing by the lake now. "You guys stay here. When the time comes, I will let you leave." Shiyan glared at the other two, talking to them faintly. "Don't worry, I won't mistreat you. Not long afterward, you will figure out that being with me was a wise decision." "Boy, you are so naughty." Generous laughter arose from a far distance. Bloodmaned and Fiery Dragon were trying to restore fast, jolting up with a solemn expression. A halo appeared in front of Shiyan, gradually turning into a good-looking middle-aged man. He was smiling warmly. "Master." Ji Mu and Yu Ying bent down to greet him. Shiyan kept quiet for a while, then also bent and greeted him. Master, thanks for protecting the Yang family. I will always keep your favor in mind. You remember my favor, but you treat my elders like that? Yunhao shook his head with an odd face. Jimu and Yuing came here to bring you to the ice and fire secret domain. The pagans are raging outside. Eventually, they would kill you all. Harumph. Blood-maned disagreed. We are living in good harmony with Shiryan. Why do we need to harm him? Only you cunning humans could have many wild schemes. You guys always attack your own fellows. Yunhao felt funny. It's really me who does things in vain. I didn't think that you would stay with the pagans. Sigh, it was my one-sided thought, I guess. Jimu and Yuing frowned. They had witnessed the dangerous interaction between Shiryan and the alien tribes. They didn't know what to say. I will keep your good thought in mind. Shiryan was honest and respectful while talking with Yunhao. But I don't want to go to the ice and fire secret domain. I've killed many people of the 7 ancient factions. I can't stay with them. I know my situation isn't good either. Sooner or later, the 7 ancient factions will aim at me. I just want to survive. No matter what I have to do, as long as I can stay in the Perpetual Night Forest, I don't care whether my partners are pagans or not. Yunhao was surprised. He hesitated for a while and then said, You know, when you do that, you will never have a chance to be accepted by human clan. At least, members of the 7 ancient factions will never approve your operations. If you do so, you will stand on the opposite side to us. I understand, Shiryan smiled begrudgingly. I can't destroy the Dark Devil clan and the Winged clan. The relationship between the alien tribes and me is deep, and the current situation isn't something I want to see. The 7 ancient factions are pushing us. I just do my best to protect myself. Who says Shiryan is a human? At this moment, Blood-maned screamed from the other side. He has the bloodline of alien tribes. Otherwise, he wouldn't be like that. You human clan has your bloodline mixed with other tribes. You are not pure, you know. Without blending with our alien tribe's bloodline, you low humans, how could you grow that fast? You always say pagans and aliens, how clean do you think you are? I don't know about the others, but the headmaster of the Yang family should have an alien bloodline. His tremendous recovery ability is something only the alien tribes can have. You human clan will never have such innate ability. Fiery Dragon suddenly mocked, if you hadn't mixed with our bloodline, the human clan would have been annihilated in the antiquity epic. How could you slowly rebel that way? Harumph. The reason why humans can thrive fast is because of snatching and robbing. You've robbed spiritual chi, precious materials, the properties of different clans. You are the corrupted insects of this continent. The other tribes agree with this statement, Blood-maned groaned. Yunhao was muted by the words of the 2 experts of the monster clan. Shiryan was startled too. He frowned, looking at Fiery Dragon with a dull face. You say there's alien tribe bloodline in my great-grandpa's body. Absolutely. Fiery Dragon confirmed resolutely. Human clan has never had such a vigorous recovery ability. In the antiquity time, there were only 2 clans which had such ability. Which ones? Shiryan asked with astonishment. The Demon Clan, Fiery Dragon answered seriously. He paused for a while, then continued gingerly, or the God Clan. Chapter 641, Parting Ways. Chapter 641, Parting Ways. The God Clan was one of the 10 antiquity clans, the strongest one. Whenever members of the other clans got their inheritance, they would also receive the secrets. Then, they would try to avoid mentioning this clan. This clan seemed to be the forbidden word, which could tremble the other hotshots of the alien tribes. According to the legends from different clans, the first clan that ever existed on this continent was the God Clan. They seemed to be the favored kind of the Almighty in heaven. From the day they were born, they were destined to be the lord of this place with endless powers. During a very long period, the God Clan was the real leader of the other tribes. It was the leader who ruled the 10 tribes, controlling the entire continent. But all that changed one day when the other 9 tribes united and banished the God Clan, this powerful clan. Thus, the strongest clan of this epic disappeared. Many other clans told the legend of this clan. They told the tale that when the 9 tribes joined hands and dealt with the God Clan, this clan had run away, leaving the Grace mainland. going to the universe. They had never appeared in the Grace mainland ever since. There were many tales about the God Clan. However, when the pagan tribes talked about the God Clan, there were always some similar stories about how strong their supernatural powers were. The 9 clans had pushed this clan away from the Grace mainland, but no tribe dared to say they had the triumph over this clan. When Fiery Dragon mentioned the clan, he was a little bit uneasy. He didn't dare to talk clearly. The God Clan was the strongest clan in the antiquity time. Every tribe recognized them. If the God Clan were still on this continent, they would be our masters, as before. Shiryen was dumbstruck. Later on, he shook his head with a forced smile. It's okay. No matter it's the bloodline of the Demon Clan or the God Clan, it's no different to me. I don't care what tribe it is, whoever helps me will be my friend, and whoever troubles me will be my enemy. No matter which race it is. Bloodmane really liked his attitude. He laughed evilly and then shouted, "Don't worry. We Monster Clan will be your friends. Being abandoned by the Human Clan isn't something so terrible. Human Clan will be cleared up anyway." Yunhao's face grimaced. "I'm not going to the Ice and Fire secret domain, but I always keep your favor in my heart." Shiryen sighed, shaking his head. "If Cult Master is here, Ji Mu and Yu Ying can leave with you. I just hope that we wouldn't meet again on the battlefield." Yunhao was struck. He slammed his eyebrows together as if he was thinking about the best result that could be obtained. "You should be careful. If you don't go to the Ice and Fire secret domain this time, I'm afraid you won't have any chance later." He pondered for a while and then said with worry, "Even if nothing happened today, the 7 ancient factions would notice. I think some people have started their stealthy operation, right?" Shiryen harumphed and nodded. "It's true. After they got out of the secret domain, they attacked my people not just once. If they didn't push us, I wouldn't treat them that way." "You should solve it," Yunhao sighed. "The girl you said. Xia Xine Yen. She isn't an ordinary girl. She has entered the true God realm and has condensed the God soul. Soon, she will be one of our sharpest weapons." Shiryan's eyes brightened. He kept silent for seconds and then cracked a smile. "Good then. I know she would reach this point. She's faster than me. Don't you feel lost?" Yunhao felt strange. "This means the gap between you two has been widened." Shiryen just smiled, but didn't answer him. "Yeah, and Lin Ming of the Pure Land has reached the 3rd sky of True God Realm. She seems to depend on that girl to break through again, using some secret techniques." Yunhao hesitated for a while. "If Lin Ming succeeds, we don't need to stay in the Ice and Fire secret domain anymore." Shiryen didn't react to his words. However, Fiery Dragon and Bloodmane changed their countenance, screaming in fear. Lin Ming was the leader of the Pure Land. She had always wanted to kill the pagans. If she could break through to the King God realm, she would be the nightmare for the alien tribes. And the Monster Clan in the Perpetual Night Forest would be the first target. Not that fast or easy. The failure rate is relatively high though. Yunhao frowned. Perhaps Lin Ming would fail. However, if Xia Xine Yen could break through that fast, of course, she would reach the King God realm soon. "Shiryen, have you ever thought that in the future, you and that little girl would have to stand on 2 opposite sides? When the 7 ancient factions attacked the Yang family, did she show her attitude?" Shiryen sparkled, asking calmly. "She has never shown up. The Pure Land has hidden her like a treasure. No one knows what attitude she has." Yunhao shook his head. "Anyway, you have to think about it. I think they will take action not long afterward." Shiryen nodded while pondering. "Please tell Bingqing Tong of the Ice Emperor City that if she has time, please come and meet me." Yunhao burst out into a strange laughter and then nodded at him. "Take care." "I will always memorize your favor, Cult Master," said Shiryen sincerely. Yunhao wore a regretful countenance. He didn't advise the young man further, leaving with Ji Mu and Yu Ying to the Ice and Fire secret domain. "This man's such a character," Bloodmane sighed in relief. "I thought he wanted to attack us. I didn't expect that he came here to pick up his people." "Shiryen, when will we start?" "Wait until I get up here again." "Oh, right. Where's the 5 elements crystal marrow?" "Here you go." Bloodmane spat out dozens of 5-colored crystal stones with an unwilling expression. These crystals were cyan, orange-red, yellow, green, and white. They looked like the most sparkling precious gems, carrying the pure powers of 5 elements. Under the shining light of the sun, moon, and stars in the sky, they radiated with a beautiful, mesmerizing, dazzling halo. The 5 elements crystal marrow was the essence of the 5 elements power. They were the energy source of some profound ancient formations. It wasn't easy for Bloodmane to collect these crystals. He had planned to merge these crystals with his beast bead when he leveled up again. Apparently, he had played with his initial capital. Don't worry, I won't be unfair to you. Shiryen swung his arm to take the crystal, stacking them in his storage ring. Wait until I get back. I will satisfy you guys. I won't let your efforts slip away in vain. Then, Shiryen flew up and sank into the lake, heading towards the Creator's divine pond directly. He urged the star martial spirit, using the star power to put the Bloodmane back to the pond. When he comprehended the star power, he didn't consume all the energy of the star original essence. He had just watched and learned the process when a star was formed and ascended. In comprehending the mysteries of stars, he didn't encounter an energy shortage, he just needed to understand thoroughly. The star original essence recorded the meanings of the star's existence and its evolution, which he needed the most. He had sunk his soul into it to see the internal construction of a star. Now he knew why a small star could get tremendously bigger. He knew the secrets when a star absorbed the power of heaven to strengthen itself. Through this comprehension, he had used the star martial spirit to reach the 3rd sky of spirit realm. His star martial spirit had evolved, which accelerated the star power absorption speed 10 times faster. The star original essence slowly fell into the ancient formation. Shiryen flickered his mind, releasing the 5 elements crystal marrow. Then, he used his soul to manipulate the crystals, falling into the eye of the formation in a special rhythm. Shiryen took out the life original fluid he had collected before and started to pour little by little into the center of the Creator's divine pond. It was moving distinctively, separating from the direction of the soul-washing divine water, floating in the critical location of the spiritual station in the Creator's divine pond. Magical hand seals flew out from his hands. Just like swimming fishes, they started to gather and readjust the scattering energy. Gradually, the Creator's divine pond released an immense halo. Countless top-grade essence crystals in the lake bottom seemed to be activated. Essence chi started to roll massively into the Creator's divine pond. Great-grandpa! At this moment, Shiryen shouted. Divine light surged torrentially in his eyes. Yang Tian Emperor was awakened. He was surprised at first, but then, he shook his head. It's a bit early for me. I've just reached the 3rd sky of spirit realm, so I need time to improve it. Let Dishan go first. Shiryen didn't say anything for a while before nodding his head. Just like Yang Tian Emperor, he had reached the 3rd sky of spirit realm, but he didn't want to enter the Creator's divine pond at this time, since he thought that his realm wasn't stable yet. It perhaps wasn't a right decision to get the true god realm rashly this way. He had thought that Yang Tian Emperor would be different. However, he had declined the opportunity too. He knew he too would be rushing if he did this. The pressure from the 7 ancient factions had always existed, and it was going to be more intense. Comoros had escaped alive. When he came back, he would be more formidable. Besides, there were other alien tribes, the Dark Spirit Clan and the Corpse Clan. They would arrive in the Perpetual Night Forest sooner or later to fight with the 7 ancient factions face to face. He thought that the time was less, and it would take a long time to improve his powers. Compared to the 7 ancient factions and the alien tribes, he was small, and he couldn't influence the whole picture much, or be able to protect himself. So, he had to enhance himself and the members of his team. The power Yang Tian Emperor had just shown everybody was much more than Dishan. That's why Shiryen hoped to see Yang Tian Emperor as the first one entering the true god realm, which would give him more support. Dishan, you go first. As he realized he shouldn't be rushing, he exhaled and then nodded to Dishan. Dishan was struck. He jolted, his face excited. However, he looked nervous, standing in his spot as he didn't know what to do. How should I get in there? What should I do after I get in? Shiryen chuckled. Don't be nervous. It's simple. You just need to fly to the spiritual station and land there. Then, you release your soul to enter the station. It will guide your soul. You just need to follow it. The Creator's Divine Pond was created by the strongest clans in antiquity time, which cost a lot of efforts for a complicated formation and countless materials. However, it was effortless to use. The instruction was as simple as what Shiryen had said. Dishan was comforted. He gathered himself and flew up, heading towards the Creator's Divine Pond. Li Zhongrong and Yi Changfeng were looking at him with bright eyes. They didn't even blink, and their breathing was held. Oldly, after Dishan's done, it's your turn. Shiryen contemplated for a while and then said, Your realm is enough, so you shouldn't worry. We have a big pressure at this moment. I want you to not go to the ice and fire secret domain for the time being after you've succeeded. I'm going the same way with you guys, Li Zhongrong agreed resolutely without any hesitation. Shiryen beamed a faint smile and gently nodded to him. Chapter 642, Upgrade the Whole Body. Chapter 642, Upgrade the Whole Body. Dishan stood still on the station inside the Creator's Divine Pond, his eyes closed. There was no surging energy wave around him, and he looked as if he were sleeping. Glowing top-grade essence crystals in the lake bottom had been activated. A large amount of pure, glorious energy gathered like gossamer, moving towards the Creator's Divine Pond. The floating station was like the brain of a human soul. It was a messy place where different kinds of energy were intertwining. Although bunches and beams of light were dazzling, they still made people feel peaceful. The refined soul power of the life original fluid and the soul-washing divine water gradually overflowed Dishan's sea of consciousness. He sat still indifferently, while trying his best to absorb the energies into his sea of consciousness. He felt so comfortable, as if he were soaking in a warm stream. Each pore of his was relaxed. Shiryen, Li Zhongrong, and Yi Changfeng were standing by the Creator's Divine Pond and observing. They were a little bit nervous, as they were afraid something unexpected would happen. The Creator's Divine Pond was a structure built in the antiquity time. Only the strongest clans could build it, since it cost countless materials and efforts. This divine pond had swallowed so many magical things to have such miraculous effects. Although Shiryen was 100% sure, he couldn't confirm whether Dishan would succeed or not. The only thing he could confirm was that Dishan wouldn't endure many strenuous experiences. When the life original fluid and the soul-washing divine water blended with each other, they turned into an ivory fluid, seeping into Dishan's head through 7 holes on his face. At this moment, Shiryen couldn't help but exhale in relief. Dishan suddenly opened his eyes. From deep inside his pupils, people could vaguely see many light dots entangling with each other. It looked like the star movement to circulate energy in the Milky Way. A flow of energy emitted from his body, cheering up people in the surroundings. Dishan's sea of consciousness started to change slowly, beginning to follow the Creator's divine pond to rebuild. Each flow of his soul consciousness was refined to become the support when he condensed the God soul. Shiryen suddenly turned to Li Zhongrong and Yi Changfeng, then smiled. He's entered the main track. As long as no one disturbs him, it will take 7 days max to create the God Soul. When Dishan gets the God Soul, he can leave the Creator's divine pond. After that, he just needs to adjust himself to the new realm. Oldly, when he gets out, you can get in there to break through your realm. I wish for you to enter the true God realm as soon as possible. Li Zhongrong was so joyful he couldn't stop laughing. His face looked like a blooming flower, as he was so excited he didn't know what to say. He had stayed in the spirit realm for dozens of years. As one of the leading alchemists in the Grace mainland, he understood the difference between the spirit realm and the true God realm more than anyone else. He knew what it meant when he had stepped into the true God realm. In the true God realm, the warriors had the God Soul, which was immortal unless it was attacked by some special treasures. Although his body was smashed, a true God realm expert could always escape the body, or use a pregnant woman's womb to be reborn again in the shape of a baby. Alternatively, he could choose a young man with outstanding features and occupy his soul to thrive further. No matter which method the true God Realm warrior chose, he could have another chance to reach his original realm one more time. If he decided to be reborn as a baby, he could have a better chance at understanding the deep meanings of power faster while trying to recover his power. This opportunity made the true God Realm leap up a long step reasonably. He would find it easy to break through a minor realm. There were many second sky of true God Realm experts who couldn't find the right chance to comprehend the Upanishad. That's why they couldn't break through to the third sky of true God Realm. At such a stage, true God Realm warriors with big guts and great desires would choose to be reborn as a child, so as to progress faster. It would take around 10 years to reach the second sky of true God Realm, the realm of his previous body. Afterward, he could seize the chance to enter the third sky of true God Realm. To the true God Realm warriors, this was a stupid method to break through. However, it was almost 100% certain without any incident. Of course, most of the true God Realm warriors had the absolute confidence in themselves, so they wouldn't dare to take risks and be reborn. Rebirth meant doing things all over again. If his enemy knew that, he would be killed before he had enough time to grow. You guys should watch here. I have to go out for a while. Wait until I come back. Old Lee should be a true God Realm expert already. Shiryen smiled as he was about to leave the lake bottom. Shiryen, the Perpetual Night Forest isn't a safe place at this moment. Where do you want to go? Li Zhengrong frowned and asked. I've agreed with Fiery Dragon and Bloodmane to help them anneal their bodies and weapons. I have to keep my word. Shiryen glared at Yang Tian Emperor. I assume Bloodmane still has 5 elements crystal marrow, which is the requirement to maintain the Creator's divine pond. If I don't comfort Bloodmane and Fiery Dragon, we wouldn't have enough 5 elements crystal marrow. The next time, it would be hard to use the pond to break through again. He had thought for Yang Tian Emperor, Yurua, and Yi Tian Emo. He wanted to use the divine pond to make his people enter the true God realm quickly. As long as his people could increase their realms under the current circumstances, he could survive better and wouldn't need to struggle his life in the valley between the clans. You should take these pellets. Perhaps you'll need them soon, Li Zhengrong pondered. A storage ring flew out from his finger, falling into Shiryan's palm. This ring stores many pellets I have refined dedicatedly. Although you don't need them, with these medicines, your people would have a bigger chance to survive. Receiving the storage ring, Shiryan's soul consciousness flickered. He found that the ring contained almost 100 bottles, storing different kinds of medicines and pellets. Some could nurture the soul, and the others could promote the essence chi. There were some pellets which could enhance the warrior's physique and heal wounds faster. Li Zhengrong was a sacred grade alchemist, and he had spent his whole life to study and refine medicines. He was a peerless expert in the Grace mainland. The pellets he refined were treasures that the warriors always yearned for in the outside world. Shiryen nodded continually to thank him, his face happy. While Di Shan is breaking through his realm, I'm going to refine some pellets. Yeah, when you return, I'll give them to you. Li Zhengrong smiled then said, Seems we have to stay together. If you and your people become stronger, I can have more support. Right, if you see a chi, please take her with you. Where is she? The Ice and Fire secret domain, Li Zhengrong beamed a forced smile. Her realm is too low, and her manners aren't good. As she isn't with us now, I'm afraid she might suffer in the Ice and Fire secret domain. Sigh, Chu Bai Qing is dead. With Qin Guchuan's dark plan, when he deals with Yi Qi, I'm afraid something bad would happen to her. Shiryan's heart sank, but he nodded quietly. I'll try my best. Li Zhengrong didn't say anything else. Waves rippled on the quiet lake, and a bunch of fiery flames shot out. A figure appeared in the blaze. Bloodmane and Fiery Dragon were waiting for him. Seeing him, they smiled, storming forward to greet him. Shiryen curled his lips into a smile, speaking faintly. As we have made a deal, it's time to make it up to you guys. From now on, I'm going to refine your bodies and forge your treasures. Of course, you have to prepare materials sufficiently. Ha ha ha, we've prepared already. As long as you want it, everything will be at your service, Bloodmane and Fiery Dragon laughed in unison. For the monster clan, Things they had aplenty were all kinds of heaven and earth products. Living in the perpetual night forest for thousands of years, the materials that the monster clan's experts had collected were piled up, enough to support both their bodies and weapon quenching. Among the clans, Human Clan was good at using heaven and earth objects. They had various methods to do that. Human alchemists and blacksmiths were all the excellent experts who could use these things fluently. Normally, no human dared to cause grudges against the entire mankind to refine weapons for Monster Clan. That's why, although they had collected abundant materials, they couldn't find a suitable refiner. Shi Yan dared to hold this precedent as he didn't care about the anger of the entire humanity. It was more than what Bloodmaned and Fiery Dragon wished. Under Fiery Dragon and Bloodmane's guidance, Shi Yan found Bloodmane's treasure, which had been hidden for several thousand years. Looking at the colorful materials filling up the whole spacious cave, the smile on his face widened. All right, you should be prepared. We're going to start now. Bloodmaned and Fiery Dragon were so excited that flames sparked from their eyes. Half a month later, somewhere in the cave underground, Bloodmaned with his shining gold body roared fiercely and stormed out rumblingly. Light of flame was still glowing on his giant body. He looked like he was molded from melting iron and looked vigorously beautiful. Waves of sharp and imposing aura rippled from the blood mane on his body, heating up the entire space. Bloodmaned was moving back and forth. Giant ancient trees on his way were smacked down, turning into wood chips. He was like a bulldozer, crushing the dozen-meters-tall trees into pieces. Bloodmaned was releasing his energy freely, gold waves rippling from him. Bloodmaned was like the Grand Master of the Monster Clan, imposingly vigorous and lively, with abundant aura. Roar! Bloodmaned laughed wildly. He was so excited that he couldn't stop moving through the forest. Gold light bloomed from his body, carrying the metal power of the 5 elements, which could simply break even the hardest defenses. After rolling around for a while, Bloodmaned felt satisfied. Smiles filled his eyes as he then moved his giant body back to the cave underground. A silver chain that was around 100 meters long soared up from the cave. This chain was as wide as a human body. Countless complicated patterns meandered on the chain as if they were the blood veins, and a blood aura emitted from it. Fiery Dragon appeared all of a sudden. When he flickered his dragon claw, the silver chain seemed like it was stuck with a flow of fire, burning fiercely. The silver chain flew around as fast as lightning, along with his maneuver. Where it passed through, giant stones were broken into small pieces. This power was really intimidating. Shi Yan, I need a good treasure like that. Bloodmaned cried dissatisfied. You forged the chain for Fiery Dragon, but you've used a big amount of my materials. You have to make it up for me. Shi Yan emerged from the cave underground, his face covered in dust. However, his eyes were bright with divine light, dark and profound like the galaxy in the sky. His appearance made people respect and fear him. We need to negotiate. It's for the future of your monster clan. Shi Yan laughed loudly. He strolled towards them, his mood elevated. Chapter 643, King of Perpetual Night Forest. Chapter 643, King of Perpetual Night Forest. For the future of our monster clan? Yanlong didn't understand anything, but he thought Shi Yan's words were shocking. He was bewildered for a while. Our monster clan's doing well. How could it matter to the future of our clan? Times have changed, Shi Yan said with a solemn visage. Today, every clan is thriving. Demon Clan, Dark Clan, Corpse Clan, Dark Spirit Clan, Ghost Mark Clan. They're all the clans from the antiquity. They aren't weaker than you guys. Since the Great Space Fission happened, experts from different clans have received the ancient inheritance. If the monster clan is stagnant, the other clans will dominate you. You'll decline gradually. You guys will become their mounts. The faces of Yanlong and Shui Lu became grim immediately. This was the most forbidden word the monster clan never wanted to mention, mount. No matter what era it was, after the monster clan declined, they would become the mounts of the other clans. They would be enslaved and become the other's subordinates. The monster clan's one of the 10 clans. You've had your peak times. I know you used to be so strong. I know the experts of the monster clan like you too will never be willing to be enslaved. Shi calmly talked to them while discreetly observing their expressions. He recognized that these two had taken his words seriously. I want to befriend the monster clan. Besides you two, I can help more members of the monster clan, Shi smiled. In this perpetual night forest, there are many strong monsters, and many of them have intelligence as you do. With my help, they can become like you. They will be much stronger very quickly. What do you think about it? Yanlong and Shui Lu couldn't conceal that they were moved. Take me to see the strongest one of your monster clan. As long as we can deal with him, it will be the good news to every member of the monster clan in Perpetual Night Forest, Shi tempted them. At this moment, his situation was relatively safe. But in fact, dangers existed everywhere. Demon Clan, Dark Spirit Clan, Goshmark Clan, and the Corpse Clan would come to the Perpetual Night Forest shortly. This forest would become the hot zone of war on this continent. The Human Clan was also cultivating hard, seeking for the methods to rally themselves. As Shi was a human and the 7 ancient factions wanted his life, they would come to the forest for him soon. With his current force, he had no significant advantage compared to the other clans or the 7 ancient factions. He could be the sacrifice at any minute. If he could establish a relationship with Monster Clan, it should be good news to him and his people. His people, besides the Yang family and the Chow, included the Ghost Hunter, the Devouring Gold Silkworm, and the King of Demonic Insects. They were all members of the Monster Clan. Shi knew this clan was imposing. Moreover, they didn't have many wild schemes. Once he got accepted, he would have tremendous support. You want to see our king of the Perpetual Night Forest? Shui Lu was hesitant. Then he became a little bit annoyed. He doesn't want to meet us, though. Different from the other experts of the Monster Clan, he's too arrogant. He hasn't gathered any force under his regime. He is cultivated alone. We went to greet him, but he ignored us. Take me to him, Shi was deliberate. I believe he will meet me. Yanlong and Shui Lu exchanged looks. They considered his proposal for a long while. Later on, they nodded. He stays near the Ice and Fire secret domain in the Black Pool. It's the prohibited area of our monster clan. When Human Clan got into the Ice and Fire secret domain, they didn't dare to trespass that place, said Yanlong. Let's go, Shi smiled and urged. Yanlong and Shui Lu were reluctant. But under his persistence, they couldn't help but take him to that place. 3 days later, Shi and the 2 warriors of the Monster Clan reached a pond where black smog was lingering above its surface. A bizarre, black froth popped everywhere. This pond was large, more than 100 miles squared. No foliage could be seen around the pond. Shi couldn't sense even a single life fluctuation of any insect. After Yanlong and Shui Lu had taken him here, they looked at the black pool and said, "He's there, staying in the bottom of the pool. Usually, he won't appear. This is a prohibited area. No humans or beasts dare to put their foot here." Yanlong changed his expression before he could finish. He pointed towards the pool, his face as if he had seen a ghost. Someone's there. Oh, someone doesn't care about life to trespass the black pool. As they had arrived at this place, Shi felt the black pool was really strange. Nothing was floating above the pond. Even if someone could fly above the pool, he would be dragged into the pool by some unknown force. Any creatures entering the black pool, no matter it was a human or a beast, it would never reappear. It seemed something invisible and intimidating was staying in the bottom of the black pool, which could swallow both the body and the soul of any creature, making them stay forever under the pool. However, a mild young girl was staying in the middle of the pool. She was riding some creature, taking in the black smog above the black pool. She seemed to be cultivating some secret technique. Shi was startled. He gathered his mind and observed carefully. Next, he cried in fear, his face odd. Yanlong and Shui Lu didn't dare to speak. They stood dully by the black pool, as though they were waiting for something. In the center of the pool, the girl opened her mouth and took in the black smog above the pool. Flows of magical, pure energy got into her mouth, increasing her aura. Her flesh body was accumulating the tremendous energy from the pool. She was Zhuo. Shi Yan felt his brain convulse. He thought the scene he was watching was unbelievable. At this moment, he was puzzled, didn't know what to say. Why was she here? Shi Yan suddenly remembered that since he had come to the Perpetual Night Forest, he had never seen Zhuo. But he had met Zhuo, Qi Xiao, and the other warriors of the Zhuo family in the Yang family shelter. However, he didn't notice Zhuo. As he tried digging in further, he felt something wrong. The young girl was riding a creature which was sinking into the pool. Her face was serious, as though she was cultivating something. She didn't realize that someone was watching her. The peak of Sky Realm. Shi Yan observed for a while, and he got more surprised. He felt that his brain wasn't working well enough. He wore a forced smile. Zhuo had reached the peak of Sky Realm. She was just a step from the spirit realm. It had been years. He didn't know what kind of good chances this little girl had encountered. She seemed to have transformed and had progressed fast. Apparently, she wasn't bad. What was going on? As he was looking at Zhuo, he found that the creature she was riding had suddenly started to move. Until he could recognize its movement, the distance between them was shortened rapidly. Shortly, Zhuo appeared in front of him. Zhuo hadn't realized anything yet. She was still closing her eyes and cultivating. She gently frowned, which made her look cute. However, Yanlong and Shui Lu were frightened. They had transformed into their human shape. At this moment, they crouched down, slightly looking up to Zhuo with a respectful expression. They were looking at the creature Zhuo was riding, to be exact. Master Xianming, Yanlong, and Shui Lu cried, using the language of the monster clan to greet the other. Their voices even trembled. Shi Yan knew the king of the Perpetual Night Forest's name was Xianming. He was an imposing expert of the monster clan who had reached the peak of level 9. He could enter level 10 at any moment. During 10,000 years, this terrifying monster named Xianming would only show himself when the monster clan in the Perpetual Night Forest had a big mess that they couldn't clean up themselves. He showed up to reconfirm the existence of the strong forces of the monster clan and maintain the order. Xianming of the Perpetual Night Forest was the king of the monster clan in the eyes of the warriors in the Divine Great Land. He was the Grand Master who ruled the beasts everywhere, the scariest existence. Even the strong human forces like Pure Land didn't dare to provoke the beasts in the Perpetual Night Forest. It was because of Xianming, the almighty of the monster clan. "You two idiots, why are you here?" An old voice arose from under Zhuo. He was using the monster language too. Shi Yan had been together with the king of demonic insects and the devouring gold silkworm for many years, so it wasn't a problem for him to understand monster language. He could even hear and understand each word. Zhuo was still cultivating, but when the voice arose, she woke up. Her eyes were as bright as stars in the sky. She rolled her eyes, then covered her mouth in surprise. "Hey, why are you here?" Afterward, Zhuo got excited and stood up from the pool. Her slender legs moved, then jumped to the land, walking towards Shi Yan. "Shouldn't you be in the endless sea?" asked the girl curiously. Shi Yan's face was odd. He looked at the girl for a while and then forced a smile. "Well, I do want to know why you are here. Old Xianming brought me here. He said that he wants to help me increase my realm. This old man had captured me not long after I arrived in the Perpetual Night Forest." Zhuo frowned, then put her hands on her waist, rolling her eyes at the thin, small old man who was slowly emerging from the pool. She pointed at him and mumbled, "That's him. Shiryen Gij, help me to teach him a lesson. I can't help it anymore. He doesn't let me go." The old man wore a pure black robe. His head looked like a snake head, paired with gloomy brown eyes. Turtle shells covered his face, which made him look more like a stupid, decayed stone. Shiryen forced a smile. First, he bent his body to greet the old man, then talked to Zhuo. "I can't teach him. He will teach me instead. Anyway, why are you here?" Little Shir's cultivating the black tortoise true star. She has my clan bloodline in her body. What's wrong with staying here? The old man's eyes rolled around. His face grew longer as he dropped his jaw. Little Shur has brought me the inheritance of my clan from the ancient time. It's natural that I should take care of her. Kid, you are a human, but you dare to trespass my black pool. Aren't you afraid that I will swallow you? You are Xianming? Shi Yan was astounded for a while. All of a sudden, he shouted, "You are from the Black Tortoise tribe." Chapter 644, Corpse Clan's Soul Sacrificial Altar. Chapter 644, Corpse Clan's Soul Sacrificial Altar. In the antiquity, the Monster Clan had 4 strongest tribes. They were the royal tribes of the Monster Clan. They were called the Sacred Tribes and included the Azure Dragon, the Black Tortoise, the Vermilion Bird, and the White Tiger. They had always ruled the Monster Clan with their invincible supernatural powers. Xianming was a black tortoise, the king of Perpetual Night Forest. Shi Yan didn't expect the old man to be from the Black Tortoise tribe, which had disappeared for so many years. He still remembered that year when he had just arrived at the Sky Meteor City. Zwisher had asked him to translate the turtle shell she got. She then received the Black Tortoise True Star scripture to cultivate. And she also had a precious, heavy armor. Was that why Xianming got close to Zwisher and protected her as if she were his closest relative? Only persons with our Black Tortoise bloodline could understand the power Upanishad of our tribe. Zwisher has our tribe bloodline. It isn't like what you think. Xianming whispered something, pursed his lips, and explained impatiently. Shi Yan was frightened, screaming, "You can read my mind." "What's difficult with that?" snorted Xianming. "You didn't use your soul power to conceal. With my realm, even if I don't use my energy, I can still read your mind. It's as easy as flipping my hand." "Old Xianming, I don't want to cultivate with you. Let me go. It's not fun here." Zwisher didn't seem to be happy, crying. "I want the best for you." Xianming rolled his eyes. "You haven't reached the spirit realm yet. If you leave me, you'll die soon. I'm not going to allow you to go." The 2 experts of the Monster Clan, Yanlong and Shui Lu, didn't talk much after they saw Xianming. They were afraid of him. "Kid, I don't care why you come here. I don't want to know either. Because you know Little Shur, I won't harm you. You should get lost quickly. If you disturb Little Shur's cultivation, I will make you regret." Xianming snorted impatiently, swinging his hand. "You 2 idiots should go too." A flow of silver energy rolled Yanlong and Shui Lu, throwing them away. Shi Yan's soul consciousness couldn't catch it. Shi Yan hadn't had time to reply as Xianming continued, "You've spent a lot of efforts on Yanlong and Shui Lu. However, you're a human. Human clan will be destroyed sooner or later. You shouldn't bring trouble to our Monster Clan." After he finished, Xianming swung his hands nonchalantly one more time. Shi Yan felt he was pressed by many streams of water before he was thrown away. He got dizzy. Until he could gather himself again, he found that he was in the shelter area of the Yang family. Standing indifferently by the lake, Shi Yan's face was complicated. It was the first time he felt helpless. Xianming at his peak of level 9 had supernatural powers. Shi Yan didn't know what kind of power he had used to deliver him hundreds of li away like that with only a wave of his hand. Suddenly, Shi Yan understood that his operation in the Perpetual Night Forest hadn't escaped Xianming's view. This old man was secluding himself in the Black Pool, but he could see all things happening in the Perpetual Night Forest. As Yu Rua, Chao Qiudao, Ling Ming, Yi Tian Imo and the others saw him, they started to gather from many places. Surprise filled their eyes. Shi Yan beamed a forced smile. He didn't want to talk much about Xianming because he thought that if he told them about him, it would create a bad shadow in their hearts. "Master, what happened? Your face is so grim." Yura stepped forward. A strange light sparked in her beautiful eyes as she was startled. "Nothing," Shi Yan calmed his mind quickly. He smiled and then said, "You guys should try harder. As long as you've reached the 3rd sky of Spirit Realm, I will help you to enter the true God realm sooner." Everybody was stunned. They thought that something was wrong with Shi Yan's mind. "I found a good thing," Shi Yan smiled. "Who is going to enter the 3rd sky of Spirit Realm?" While talking, he took out many pellets Li Zhengrong had given him. "If you are confident, I will give you the suitable pellets." Chao Qiudao's team had their eyes brightened. I think I'm about to break through. Etienne Mo was a little bit shy when he said with hesitation. I'm almost there too. After the change of heaven and earth, our speed of comprehending realms has increased too. Yurua said with her bright eyes. Great-grandpa has reached the peak of spirit realm. Not long afterward, he can take another step further. Shiryen said confidently. Dishan has reached the true god realm. I think he is adjusting his powers now. I will make your realms increase fast. Chao Qiudao, Chao Jilan, and Fan Xiangyun were bewildered. Little Yen, are you not exaggerating? Shi Jian kept quiet for a while and then asked with a trembling voice. Shi Yen nodded heavily. While he was talking, he saw Zhuo Su. He waved at the old man and then asked him. Grandpa Zhuo, do you know Zhuo Shi's story? Zhuo Su changed his face. I want to get it clearly. At first glance, Shi Yen got that he knew something. The king of Perpetual Night Forest had captured Zhuo Shi. But he doesn't mean harm. Everything he's done is for Zhuo Shi. I just want to know, when did it happen? Not long after we arrived in the Perpetual Night Forest. Zhuo Su was hesitant, telling him the details of the situation. We disputed with the 7 ancient factions in the Ice and Fire secret domain. Little Shi was together with us at that time. But suddenly, she disappeared. Zhuo Shi considered his words. At the beginning, we were really worried. When we were about to go out and find her, someone sent the message to our souls, telling us not to find her. Little Shi also sent us her thoughts, telling us that she was all right. She was going with an expert to cultivate. She asked us not to tell anybody. Shi Yen was silent. Oh, so that's it. Is Little Shi okay? Zhuo Su was worried. Don't worry, she's fine. She has reached the peak of Sky Realm. Not long afterward, she will enter the Spirit Realm. Her innate endowment is better than anyone else. You guys don't need to worry about her. Under his protection, no one can touch her, Shi Yen explained. Zhuo Su exhaled in relief. Everybody should prepare. We don't have much time. All clans are hostile to us, so we need to improve our competence fast. Shi Yen advised them. His figure flickered and disappeared as he went to find Yan Long and Shui Lu. Xian Ming didn't want to cooperate with him. At first, he could only convince the experts whose cultivation base wasn't much different from Yan Long and Shui Lu. In the Perpetual Night Forest, there were several rulers of the monster clan like Yan Long and Shui Lu. If he could make a deal with them, even if he didn't have Xian Ming, he wouldn't need to worry much. Each strong expert like Yan Long and Shui Lu had accumulated plenty of treasures. They had abundant heaven and earth precious products. Not only did he need to refine better weapons for the Yang family, but he also needed to prepare something for himself. Thus, he needed the accumulated properties of those beasts. Ancient Corpse Tomb. Inside a spacious dark cave where black crystal jades twinkled, corpse chi permeated the area. Many members of the Corpse clan were scattered inside the cave, surrounding a sacrificial altar built of tombstones. The altar was moving slowly, while a magical soul fluctuation rippled from each tombstone. Each soul fluctuation was as bright as a flame, swaying in the tombstone. Corpse and Corpse Mount were moving inside that sacrificial altar. They were grimacing, as if they were enduring some serious pain. Every time they took a step, a soul fluctuation whipped them, then entering their souls. The Corpse clan's sacrificial altar held the inheritance seal of the Corpse clan. Each clansman of the Corpse clan could use their ability to receive the inheritance in the altar. After that, they would receive the old technique of the Corpse clan and the knowledge, as well as the history of the Corpse clan. Corpse Mount and Corpse Sea were struggling, while magical soul thoughts were entering deep inside their souls. Corpse Mount and Corpse Sea's soul had the shape of a headstone. While they were absorbing the soul thoughts, their souls were purified, getting rid of contaminants. They were taking in the inheritance inside the soul sacrificial altar. After that, they could know secret techniques that had been stored and imparted for so many years in the Corpse clan. A large garnet coffin laid next to the cave entrance. It was sealed, but no corpses dared to approach it. They were looking at it with respectful expressions. Thump, thump, thump. Waves of living fluctuation beat rumblingly, rippling out from the coffin like a fighting drum, hitting each member of the Corpse clan. Their souls resonated, as if they were working together with the sacrificial altar. After an unknown period, Corpse Mount and Corpse Sea had many wounds on their bodies, with sticky blood flowing along their bodies. However, it couldn't stop their movements, as they still took each step strenuously. Many members of the Corpse clan showed their admiration and respect for Corpse Mount and Corpse Sea for their strong persistence and powerful potential. Clansmen who could resist longer in the altar could receive more benefits, and the inheritance they would get would be more excellent. After the Great Space Fission happened, they had discovered the Soul Sacrificial altar. Besides the one staying in that large coffin, Corpse Mount and Corpse Sea had the longest time staying in the altar. Bang! Formidable energy surged from the Soul Sacrificial altar, pushing Corpse Mount and Corpse Sea away and making them fall. The Corpse clan's Soul Sacrificial altar quieted down, as no more soul fluctuations rippled. The countless headstones didn't move anymore. Corpse Mount and Corpse Sea struggled to get up, crouching on all fours. Their jaws were chattering, as if they were calling some power. The lid of coffin next to them suddenly lifted, exposing a large hand that was as sharp as a dagger. Under the attentive looks of so many clansmen, that hand created a strange hand seal, which then floated, dragging a flow of energy from the Soul Sacrificial altar. Then, it divided into two seals and imprinted on Corpse Mount's and Corpse Sea's forehead. This seal meant that Corpse Mount and Corpse Sea were accepted. Just like the seal on Yan's forehead, it represented that Corpse Mount and Corpse Sea had become the new members of one of the oldest tribes. Chapter 645, Contact the Foreign Land. Chapter 645, Contact the Foreign Land. Ice and Fire Secret Domain. Inside a plain meeting hall built with flame stone, Lin Meng of the Pure Land, Yunhao of the Radiant God Cult, Nia Rua of the Devil Temple, Qin Gu Chuan of the Heaven Temple, Guan Hu of the Martial Spirit Palace, Luo Miao of the Spirit Treasure Sect, and Yuan Jian of the Fighting Union, the leaders of the 7 ancient factions, were gathering. These 7 people were the overlords of the entire divine Great Land. Each of them had ruled the richest parts of the continent for so many years. Today, in this meeting hall, the hotshots of everywhere were gathered. Their faces were grim, looking at the bronze cauldron in the center of the hall. The bronze cauldron was 5 meters high, with 3 supports as big as human legs. The cauldron was covered with magical patterns, including the clouds, beasts, alien tribes, ghosts, and demons. All of them looked animated, as if they were living creatures crawling around the cauldron. Green smoke wound from the cauldron, while a refreshing fragrance was dispersing in the place that could revitalize people and calm their souls. It was the original universe returning cauldron, a divine tool of the Pure Land. Lin Meng had treasured it in the Pure Land. She didn't let the others see this treasure, as if it were the root of her life. Lin Meng and the other 6 were sitting in silence, waiting for the green smoke to get thicker. Then, they released their god soul, turning into 7 beams of light flying towards the cauldron. Their souls then found a spot for each on the mouth of the cauldron. Then, they united the soul power into one flow, shining on the center of the cauldron. The patterns on the original universe returning cauldron glowed. Twisting soul fluctuation shot out from the cauldron, dragging the entire ice and fire secret domain into a fierce soul vortex. After an unknown period, Ling Meng's god soul reached the center of the cauldron. It hovered in the crystal-clear space inside, constantly using the soul power to clear the space. Lin Meng's god soul seemed like it had escaped the Grace mainland, wandering into an immense galaxy. As if it could sense something magical, it flew in a particular direction. The star sea was mysterious and endless. Lin Meng's soul was like a little fish strolling around, not daring to act rashly or sense the prestige of the other stars. It only watched over a spiritual platform. Long after that, Lin Meng's soul power was consumed by a big part. She was bewildered, reaching a vast Milky Way. It was like a dream. Lin Meng tried to control her mind, constantly releasing the soul thought to seek the prestige of the human sages, trying to make contact with them. It seemed there was something really intimidating dormant in the center of the soul sea. These soul fluctuations had scared Lin Meng, as if they could burn her god's soul into ashes any minute. All of a sudden, Lin Meng's soul shuddered, as she had caught a feeble soul fluctuation. She pulled herself together, trying to reach the source of the soul fluctuation. However, right at this moment, an icy cold thought shot toward her from a corner of the star sea. Lin Meng had neither seen the target nor established a connection with it. But her god's soul was disordered, turning into a beam of light and retreating from the soul sea immediately. The original universe-returning cauldron was shaking violently in the hall. Images of alien tribes on the cauldron seemed to be activated. They started to show their claws and bare their fangs, as if they wanted to get rid of the cauldron. The god souls of the other 6 were trembling hard. They hastened to release their soul power, pouring into the cauldron. The original universe-returning cauldron slowly quieted down. The beasts, ghosts, and demons rising on the surface of the cauldron were oppressed, as if an invisible giant palm was pressing them, preventing them from causing any harm. Lin Meng's god soul was shaking violently. She hurried to get back to the body from the original universe-returning cauldron, and the other 6 followed her. The 7 strong true god realm warriors of human clan in the divine Great Land were pale and exhausted, as though they had just fought a fierce battle. Their soul power seemed to be completely drained. Blood trickled from the 7 apertures on Lin Meng's face. She looked distressed, just like someone had hurt her. It took her a long time to steady her breath. She was still frightened, her voice helpless. I don't know what has happened. My grand teacher seemed feeble. I don't know what has happened to her. Yunhao and Niarua were scared, their faces glum. We know your grand teacher is the last one who had reached the king god realm. She's the peerless warrior of the divine Great Land. Her power and cultivation base could be deemed invincible. Did she meet anything unexpected in the endless foreign starry sky? Niarua couldn't hold his fright. How dangerous is the endless foreign starry sky that she couldn't form a connection with you? Millions of years have passed. We have countless warriors who had reached the king god realm, which gives them the ability to escape the Grace mainland. They took turns and entered the endless foreign starry sky. Besides the extraordinary warriors of the human clan, there were the grand seniors of the demon clan and the dark clan. After they left, they sent no news back to us. Lin Meng was hesitant. When my grand teacher left, she told me that when we encounter dangers we can't resist, I should use the original universe-returning cauldron to contact her, and she would help me. However, I could sense she isn't well either. It seems she's confined. Confined? The hotshots of the 7 ancient factions changed their visage. A strange light appeared in their eyes as they were startled. Lin Meng's teacher was the peerless hotshot who existed in the nearest era to the current epoch of the divine Great Land. When she disappeared from the divine Great Land, Yunhao's group were still teenagers who had just entered the path of cultivation. Anyway, they knew about her legend. She left when she had reached the second sky of King God Realm. It was so many years, her realm should be more profound. However, she was unexpectedly imprisoned in the endless foreign starry sky. What was going on? In the antiquity time, the God clan had disappeared completely from the Grace mainland, the whole clan. It has been more than 1 million years. I wonder if they still exist. In that era, the rulers of the Demon clan and the Dark clan had also left one by one. None of them have been heard to come back. It has been so many years. No one knows if they are dead or alive. Lin Meng sighed. The existence at such a level isn't something we can predict. If we can't establish the connection with my grand teacher, we have to think about some other way around. Some of the oldest books of our martial spirit palace describe an era that was earlier than the antiquity time. The immemorial epoch. I heard that the clans didn't exist during that time, and there were the immemorial living beings, which were much stronger than us. They seemed to have an endless life. I heard that those immemorial living beings could create a whole new world, where their bodies were the world. We can say that they were the origin of legends and myths. The immemorial living beings were there before the 10 clans. They disappeared one after another from the Grace mainland. The only thing I know is that after they had reached the peak of their powers, the Grace mainland couldn't nurture them anymore. Guanho of the Martial Spirit Palace considered his word choice, talking with a frightened face. Everybody was panic-stricken by his words. Their hearts sank. Our strength is nothing to the warriors in the antiquity time, let alone the living beings in the immemorial epic. Lin Meng forced a smile. Seems like we can't rely on the external forces. We can only depend on ourselves. There are so many small spaces outside the Grace mainland. Most of them belong to the other clans who couldn't get here in the past. After the Great Space Fission happened, they could arrive here through the space slits. At this moment, we have to recognize the existence of the invincible warriors from the Demon Clan, the Dark Clan, and the Dark Spirit Clan. Later on, it will be more unendurable, Guanho sighed. After so many years, the alien hotshots from the antiquity time are dead, or have left to the endless foreign starry sky. The ones that have just come are their grandchildren. Otherwise, we would have been killed already, Yunhao snorted. Not really that dangerous. At least, we haven't seen any at the King God realm. But they all have the inheritance. The inheritance of our human clan isn't complete anymore, after so many years. Lin Meng shook her head. The survivors of the alien tribes are all intimidating. They have survived many dreadful challenges. We have only this number of limited hotshots. It's really tough to resist the other clans. Lin Meng paused, then her countenance turned cold as she snorted. Moreover, we have some B** stards in our team. At this point, Qin Gu Chuan, Guanho, and Luo Miao had their faces darkened. Yunhao kept silent. He felt agitated, but he didn't know what to say. Dares to join the alien tribes. Should kill them all. We should prevent them from being a big trouble in the future. Qin Gu Chuan sneered. That boy named Shi Yan isn't bad. If we let him do what he wants like that, he will cause a lot of troubles. I think we should take action earlier. Before the other clans come here, we should clean this wild grass. Shi Yan belongs to the human clan. Yunhao knitted his brows, his voice uncertain. After he heard Yan Long talk about the alien bloodline of Shi Yan, he wasn't sure whether his decision was right or not. They're a force anyway. If they're alive, our human clan will have support in the future. I propose to kill them all. Qin Gu Chuan suddenly stood up. We should vote. Who approves this? Lin Meng, Nia Rua, Luo Miao, and Guanho voted to kill Shi Yan's group. Among the 7 of them, besides Yunhao, only Yuan Jiang of the Fighting Union, the city master of the Celestial Emperor City, the hegemon of the Fighting Union, didn't vote. Yu Ji, how about you? Luo Miao looked at him. That kid has a good relationship with my Fighting Union. I think he's not bad, said Yuan Jiang faintly. Among the 7, 5 agree. According to our rule, this is settled. Qin Gu Chuan looked at Lin Meng of the Pure Land. Lin Meng nodded. All right, before we have the war with the alien tribes, we will kill the insects first. Qin Gu Chuan was sinister. Our 5 forces will carry out this operation. The Radiant God Cult and the Fighting Union don't need to join us. But I hope you guys won't interfere. Yunhao and Yuang frowned. They didn't answer, as they knew it was difficult to solve the matter. Chapter 646. No Return. Chapter 646. No Return. 100 meters tall ancient tree with dense branches and leaves shook suddenly in the perpetual night forest. Green leaves rattled and then fell. A light spot appeared on the tree trunk near the thick roots. It slowly divided into many beams, crawling on the branches like snakes and creating a mysterious light door. 2 silhouettes flashed in the door. From the icy and burning hot area, they appeared in front of the giant tree. The strange phenomenon of the tree vanished when the 2 people appeared. Turning her head to look at the entrance of the secret domain behind, Bing Qing Tong frowned. Her countenance was cold but elegant as she said faintly, "We should be hurried. Don't know what has happened to that brat. Why does he have to be with the alien tribes? Sigh, he always gives us a headache." Han Shui was still as beautiful as a flower. Her watery black eyes twinkled, accompanying her succulent red lips. All her features made her so charming that her charisma could capture people's souls. As she thought she was about to meet someone, her soft body got hot, and her heart bounced in her chest. Don't mess things up. That B*****'s in danger now. If we're late, I'm not sure we can help him, Bing Ching Tong snorted, then knitted her brows. She seemed to hurry. A group of warriors strolled towards them from the far forest. This group went out to hunt beasts. Their realms weren't the same, and some of them looked really handsome. However, they were walking and joking and laughing, as though they didn't know about the calamity human clan was about to face. When they reached the entrance, they saw Bing Ching Tong and Han Shui. Their eyes brightened while they couldn't help but pant. Outstanding young warriors of the 7 ancient factions raked their eyes through Bing Ching Tong's and Han Shui's bodies. They gulped as their temptation rose like animals. A leader of that group, who thought that he was excellent enough with his sky realm, beamed a smile and then bowed to greet the other two. Master Bing, where are you going? Bing Ching Tong's face was as cold as ice. Somewhere. Haha, if you want to hunt beasts, I can take you. I'm familiar with this area. I'm willing to help you. The young man laughed and tried to show his servile manner. No need. Bing Ching Tong wore a cold face, moving swiftly, crossing this group. She disappeared instantly. Han Shui smiled beautifully, like hundreds of flowers blooming. She didn't pay attention to these people and just left. Lai Quan, you've wasted your heart. These 2 women are at the 3rd sky of Spirit Realm. Why would they have to favor you? A dark-skinned, short young man laughed evilly. Well, these famous flowers have an owner already. B***cheese, Lai Quan was surprised. But then, he thundered with a dark face. They dare to join the barbarian man. Harumph, they don't favor living. Such SL**TS. The man called Shi Yan will be doomed soon. Perhaps, they would be involved too. Xin Lin, the one who had left the Yang, was in this group. He frowned and then asked. These 2 women have a relationship with Shi Yan. Xin Lin had spent a lot of time in the Perpetual Night Forest. That's why Lai Quan asked him to show the way. Lai Quan smiled on hearing him. Mr. Xin, I heard that the Yang family has many beautiful young ladies. Is that true? Xin Mu slightly bent his body, his face respectful. Yeah, it's true. Li Feng'er and Yang Shui are really prominent. Why does young Master Lai ask me that? Lai Quan and the others had their eyes brightened, chuckling evilly. I think we should ask to attack the enemy first. They have to die, eventually. Well, if we can have fun with them, when they die, their lives won't be wasted. The short, fat guy pursed his lips perversely. A bunch of trash. However, a voice came from that tree. Lai Feng of the Devil Valley appeared, glaring coldly at them. Is that your future career? When they realized Lai Feng was coming, they paled immediately, bending to greet him loudly. Brother, get lost. Don't embarrass our Devil Valley. Killing you is as easy as smashing an ant. Shi Yan can always do that before he dies. Lai Feng was cold and didn't want to look at them. He walked away. After Lai Feng had left for a while, Lai Quan continued with an irritated expression. F***CK. He didn't defeat the opponent whose realm is lower than his. Well, don't know who has lost our Devil Valley's face. Lai Quan, are you interested in the operation to deal with the Yang? The fat guy instigated again. Of course, yes. Lai Quan laughed. The seniors have announced already. They want to kill all the members of the Yang family and the Shi family. I heard that they are filthy rich. If we can earn some good stuff, it will be superb for us. These people then laughed obscenely. Xin Lin, the Yang family's traitor, kept silent. He felt a sadness swell in his heart. However, when he thought about that, Xin Lin darkened his face. He thought that Yang Tian Emperor and his people deserved that. They had given up the big tree, the 7 ancient factions, to group with the alien tribes. They deserved death. After Lai Feng left that area, he took out a bronze coin, flipping it between his fingers. While moving, the coin sometimes sparkled a dark light. Just like black mist, it flew forward. Lai Feng followed the faint light from the bronze coin. His pace was fast, then slow. He didn't look hurried. After a long time, Lai Feng suddenly felt tense. He halted, releasing the soul consciousness to sense, then beamed a forced smile. You guys busted me. Bing Qing Tong and Han Shui silently walked out from the shade of a big tree, looking at him with an unfriendly countenance. Han Shui arched her brows. She rarely felt angry, but she screamed. "Why are you following us?" "I'm ordered." Lai Feng didn't seem tense. He smiled and answered deliberately. "Whose orders?" Bing Qing Tong looked cold. "Lai Feng, although your competence isn't bad, if we sisters join hands, it's not hard to kill you." Lai Feng had reached the second sky of Spirit Realm. He was the strongest leader of the new generation of the Devil Valley. His cultivation of the Devil Valley's supernatural Upanishad was excellent. If they battled one-on-one, Bing Qing Tong with her third sky of Spirit Realm cultivation base couldn't defeat him. "From the supreme leaders, not just my teacher." Lai Feng smiled. "If you want to defeat me, well, of course, you can do that. But if you want to kill me, haha, it's not easy. What is your purpose for following us?" As Han Shui felt time was running out, she got annoyed. Anger rose in her beautiful eyes. "You know already." Lai Feng took several steps backward. He squinted, his face eccentric. "Personally, I don't have any bad intentions towards you too. I'm here to tell you that if you decide to go, you should be prepared, and you should know that you can't come back. In other words, if you return, even the hegemon of your fighting union can't protect you." "Why do you want to tell us this?" Bing Qing Tong furrowed her brows, talking in a low tone. "As far as I've known, Shurian had irritated you in the Precious Tool Valley, right?" "Irritated? I don't think so." Lai Feng pursed his lips, talking arrogantly. "I don't like the weak. Only the strong can get into my eyes. And Shurian, he's one of the rare kinds I like. Although I like slaughtering and being mean, I always respect and admire strong experts. And I don't want to see that kid be killed unknowingly. I want to defeat him officially for once." Bing Qing Tong and Han Shui kept silent, their faces complicated. Many members of the 7 ancient factions had a good relationship with Shurian. For instance, Zhu Yi of the Wonderful Stone City, the elders of the Radiant God cult, the Banner family, and the Aok family. However, after they knew the relation between Shurian and the alien tribes, most of them didn't dare to show their agreement. They decided to ignore it. Some even got enraged, and they wanted to attack the Yang family. People who wanted to help him were pitifully rare. Lai Feng was a new face of the Devil Valley. His brutal name was famous in the divine Great Land. He liked slaughtering, and here was almost no nice word to describe him. However, a character like that had told Bing Qing Tong and Han Shui the dark thoughts of the higher levels in the 7 ancient factions. At this moment, Bing Qing Tong and Han Shui were moved. "How about my other 2 sisters? Are they all right?" Bing Qing Tong pondered for a while and then asked nervously. Long Dan Qing and Shuang Yuzhu were still in the Ice and Fire secret domain. Bing Qing Tong was afraid that the other 2 would be involved and the 7 ancient factions would trouble them. She couldn't press down her worries. They should be okay. The high levels mean that. The traitors are the ones who send intelligence to Shurian discreetly. They don't want us to treat you well. "Yeah, only you 2. Lai Feng contemplated for a while and then continued. "If you return now, I will consider nothing has happened. The high levels won't attack you. But if you are persistent, I will say the same. You shouldn't return." "Thank you." Bing Qing Tong nodded to him. "We won't come back. If you have the chance, please help us notify my other 2 sisters. Please let them know." Lai Feng was dumbstruck. He beamed a faint smile. "I envy that kid. Haha, I didn't think that you were willing to leave the 7 ancient factions for him. All right, I will send your message to your sisters. Just leave and don't worry about them. If we meet again, I won't be polite. You should solve your matters yourself." Then, Lai Feng turned around generously. He sauntered towards the Ice and Fire secret domain, not wanting to follow them anymore. Bing Qing Tong and Han Shui stood there in silence for a while. Han Shui spoke first. "That man does have good intentions. I didn't expect that he would remind us. If he hadn't talked to us, I think we would have returned to the Ice and Fire secret domain. At that time, we would be miserable. Yeah, it's hard to see through people's hearts. At the most struggling time, there are those who look like your enemy but will help you discreetly." Bing Qing Tong suddenly remembered something, her face disdain. And then there are some who are so shameful. Han Shui's visage became grimaced as she snorted. Chapter 647, Impasse? Chapter 647, Impasse. These days, Yan was really busy. The Perpetual Night Forest was vast. As he was doing business with the other 3 hotshots of the monster clan, he had to run back and forth in the forest, consuming a lot of his efforts to make them accept him. 9-headed bird, silver-winged sky wolf, and glacial armor giant alligator were the rank 2 level 9 beasts, the high-grade leaders of the monster clan, at the same level as Shui Lai. The 3 of them occupied vast areas in the Perpetual Night Forest. They were all brutal and sinister. They had many level 7 and 8 subordinates who were staying in different areas. However, they didn't have a good relationship with Yan Long and Shui Lai. Quite the contrary, they fought all the time. To get the approval from these 3, Yan had to put much effort, using Yan Long and Shui Lai as the precedent to persuade them, making them give him the treasures they had stashed for thousands of years. After 1 month of refining through days and nights, Yan was exhausted. With Yi Changfeng's assistance, he had the Purgatory True Flame, which helped him please the 3 hotshots of the monster clan. 9-headed bird, silver-winged sky wolf, and glacial armor giant alligator were the overlords of a vast area. They all had intellect, which became more profound after the Great Fission. Negotiating with them gave Yan a big headache as they weren't so easy to be deceived. If they hadn't seen the great changes on Yan Long and Shui Lai after their bodies had been refined, these 3 monsters would never pay attention to Yan. The precious treasures they had collected over thousands of years widened Yan's vision. Now he knew that the most precious earth and heaven products weren't in the hands of the 7 ancient factions, but in the cave mansions of the beasts. After 1 month of refining, no matter day or night, Yan was so exhausted that his soul had weakened. However, his 3rd sky of spirit realm cultivation base was steadied. He found that while he was quenching the monsters' bodies, or forging the simple weapons with tremendous power, his mind and spirit were quiet and clear. During the refining process, his soul was sublimated. This wonderful realm of having nothing else in his head was really useful to steady his sea of consciousness. After 1 month, his understanding of the star Upanishad became deeper. While he was annealing the glacial armor giant alligator, he had accidentally stirred up space, causing many space slits again. This experience gave him a deeper knowledge of space power. Although he was tired out during the whole month, he knew this period was constructive for his martial cultivating path. It made his recognition of earth and heaven power clearer. Di Shan and Li Zhongrong had used the Creator's divine pawn to enter the true God realm and create the God Soul. Finally, he had true God realm warriors on his side. They didn't fail him. Yang Tian Emperor wasn't hurried. He said that he didn't want to use the Creator's divine pawn that quickly. He was still cultivating on the lake bottom, using the willpower that was almost harmful to him to comprehend the power Upanishad he had understood. Today, he managed to have some free time to go to the Yang family's gathering point. He was surprised to see Yi Tianmo and Yu Rua were in their comprehension stage. They sat still for 7 days, while magical halos were moving around them. With his knowledge, Yan understood that when Yi Tianmo and Yu Rua woke up, they would be at the peak of spirit realm. At that time, they could enter the Creator's divine pond. When he was still observing them, Yang Tian Emperor asked Yi Changfeng to open the lake passage. He returned with a grim face. The 7 ancient factions want to attack us now. Right after he arrived, Yang Tian Emperor threw a powerful grenade, which sank everybody's hearts. Although they knew the 7 ancient factions didn't have good intentions, they always thought that as they were all humans, the 7 ancient factions wouldn't force them into the dead corner. Having heard Yang Tian Emperor, people found their hearts all chilled. The 7 ancient factions were the strongest human forces in the divine Great Land. Before the rise of the alien tribes, they had dominated the richest land, and everybody knew their reputation. When they were determined, it would be very terrifying. Great-grandpa, how did you know that? Yan's face darkened. You were always staying in the lake bottom. How did you receive the news? It's from Tangyuan Nan. Before we detached, I exchanged the sound stone seal with him. Yang Tian Emperor's visage was grim. However, it's not Tang Yuan Nan's voice. Perhaps he had sent someone out of the secret domain and sent me the message. That person said that the 7 ancient factions are about to carry out a slaughter against us. We are told to leave the Perpetual Night Forest as fast as possible. Tang Yuan Nan. He still remembers our relationship. It's worth my good treats to him. Shi Yan nodded. He contemplated for a while and then asked, how about Xia Qingho? You didn't contact only Tang Yuan Nan, did you? Has he ever sent any message to you? Yang Tian Emperor kept silent. Shi Yan's face darkened. He snorted and then said faintly, seems like not everyone remembers the old favors. Without the teleportation formation little Yan had built, the Xia family would have perished in the endless sea. This old man, when they had arrived in the divine great land, he immediately joined the Pure Land as though he didn't remember who we are. Yang Jue smiled faintly. Don't say useless things. Everybody has their own path. We can't force anyone. Yang Tian Emperor scolded then frowned. Everyone has his own choice. The day we chose to leave, we should have known that we would be on the opposite side one day. Tang Yuan Nan has remembered our friendship. We have to appreciate him. Xia Qingho didn't notify us, but we don't need to criticize. We just don't consider him a friend anymore. Yang Ji, do you really think that way? Chao Qiudao, the one who always kept silent from the beginning, suddenly arched his eyebrows. The hero of the endless sea, when have you become so sympathetic? In my eyes, the ones that aren't my friends, of course, are my enemies. Yang Tian Emperor was nonchalant, not answering. No one knew what he was thinking. Yang Tian Emperor was always arrogant in the endless sea. He didn't have many close friends, and Xia Qingho was one of his close friends. Before Xia Qingho had fallen into insanity, Yang Tian Emperor had a good relationship with him. The Xia family always followed the Yang family. They had stayed in the Kiara Sea. No matter what situation it was, they were still with the Yang family. Yang Tian Emperor had treated him well. Xia Qingho appreciated his favor, and he had done his best to maintain a good relationship with the Yangs. When Yang Tian Emperor found the danger, he had notified Xia Qingho first, asking him to bring the Xia family to the Immortal Island so that they could leave the endless sea together. Quite the contrary, Tang Yuan Nan was Yang Tian Emperor's opponent right from the beginning. The Three God Sect and the Yang family had had conflicts for hundreds of years. Yang Tian Emperor and Tang Yuan Nan had fought before. They didn't like each other. When Shi Yan appeared, their hostile relationship was calmed as they gradually became allies. However, his relationship with Tang Yuan Nan was much worse than the relationship he had with Xia Qingho. When they decided to leave the endless sea, he had hesitated a lot before sending news to Tang Yuan Nan. However, when he treated Xia Qingho, he had no hesitation. He immediately notified Xia Qingho when he knew the change of the demon area, which he couldn't resist. However, when they needed intelligence the most, Tang Yuan Nan had sent it to them, while Xia Qingho didn't even move his fingers. Yang Tian Emperor found it hard to accept this fact. From now on, he will no longer be my friend. If he shows his hostility, I won't be merciful. Yang Tian Emperor kept silent for a while before continuing with a calm voice. Chao Qiudao laughed. This is the Yang Tian Emperor I know. What should we do? Fan Xiangyun was anxious, her face glum. Shi Yan, do you have any countermeasures? Time is rushing, Shi Yan gritted his teeth. I thought we still have more time. After you guys all have the breakthrough, we will face them directly. I didn't think that they would take action that fast. He felt a headache coming. He knew how strong the 7 ancient factions were. They had more than 10 true God Realm warriors. Even if Yunhao and the Radiant God cult didn't join this operation, the other 6 factions were enough to sweep them. How about the Monster Clan? Would they help us? Asked Yang Jue. They can help us a little bit. But we can't expect that they would risk their lives for us. Our opponent is so intimidating. I think the Monster Clan will consider the pros and cons. They won't be rash. Shi Yan shook his head then said, unless. Unless what? Everybody was shaken. Shi Yan beamed a forced smile. Unless that dreadful old man Xianming helps us, The other hotshots of the monster clan would never risk their lives against the human clan. Sigh. It's tough. That old man's a conservative one. He's a big racist nut. Last time I went there, he had struck me away before I had time to explain. When he said that, people felt their hearts sink again. Dark clouds hovered in their heads. How about leaving this place, said Fan Xiangyun. We should leave the Perpetual Night Forest for the time being. It should be no problem. We can leave. But should we not return? Yang Tian Emperor shook his head. Once we leave the Perpetual Night Forest, it's the empty land outside. It's easy for the alien tribes to detect us. Not only the alien tribes, the 7 ancient factions could chase after us there. It's also a wild area with nothing else. We won't have even an obstacle to hide behind. We haven't prepared for that. It would make us more passive. Yes, we can't retreat. Once we retreat, it will be more strenuous. Chao Qiudao, the headmaster of the Chao family, always had a clear mind. Everybody was silent, their faces grim. They were thinking how to deal with this big oncoming calamity. When they had to face the 7 ancient factions directly, they recognized that they were so weak and tiny compared to this formidable force. They had no means or ways to stop their crushing attack. Little Yen, don't bear too big a pressure. As we're at this point, it's our choice. Without you, we still would have done the same. Yang Tian Emperor looked at him with affection. In this vast world, we would have a way out. We will find a solution. Shi Yan took a deep breath. Great-grandpa, give me time. I need to think about it carefully to see if we can find a way out. Everybody nodded and scattered, discussing with each other in a low tone to find a solution. Yang Tian Emperor sighed, but didn't say anything, as a furious light was dancing in his eyes. No one knew which brutal thought he had at this moment. Shi Yan didn't say anything. He sat down by the lake, closed his eyes, and pondered, his face grim. Chapter 648. Deep Affection, Generous Love. Chapter 648. Deep Affection, Generous Love. When Bingqing Tong and Han Shui arrived, Shi Yan still wore a gloomy face, as he was yet to figure out the solution. Yang Tian Emperor and Chao Qiudao's group were also upset and gloomy. Their countenance looked heavy. They were stressed because of the pressure from the 7 ancient factions. When the 2 elegant beauties, whose appearance and bearings were more exquisite than Fan Xiangyun, arrived, Chao Qiudao and Yang Tian Emperor changed their faces, starting to gather their powers. They all looked tense. They thought that the 7 ancient factions had started their operation. Bingqing Tong and Han Shui were their first wave of attack. The 2 men were preparing to kill them. At this moment, Shi Yan frowned and woke up from his deep thought. Seeing the 2 beautiful women who had a love knot with him, he tried to beam a smile. Why are you here? Lin Meng, Niarua, and Guan Ho are about to attack you guys. We're here to tell you to leave early. Don't wait until they come. Bingqing Tong's pretty eyes held a faint streak of affection. She smiled elegantly. It's good that you've reached the 3rd sky of Spirit Realm. Han Shui's eyes brightened as she smiled gorgeously. This be *starred. Can you stop making people worry about you? It's obvious that you have an excellent natural endowment. Why do you always put yourself in difficult situations? Sigh, I don't know what to tell you. Hearing Bingqing Tong and Han Shui, Yang Tian Emperor's group was startled as they felt something weird here. They had heard about the story between Shi Yan and the 4 ice flowers of the Ice Emperor city. However, they couldn't confirm if it were true or not. Today, as they had finally seen the 2 gorgeous women and their soft voices, they immediately recognized that the truth could be more unbelievable than the rumors. You guys shouldn't have come here. You should stay in the Ice and Fire secret domain. Why do you want to come here for troubles? Shi Yan felt warm. He put aside his worries for a moment and then smiled. Where are the others? How are you doing in the Ice and Fire secret domain? He was referring to Long Danqing and Shuang Yuju. They can't get out. Otherwise, they should be here already. Bingqing Tong bit her lips. She was always a noble and cold woman, but now she looked like a little girl who had just tasted love. Go, we will go with you. It's all right if we can dodge this calamity. The power of the 7 ancient factions is much more dangerous than what you've imagined. Your force. I think you can't deal with them. She knew the 7 ancient factions' force was imposing. She knew Lin Ming's group was determined, and she also knew that Shiryen was stubborn. Asking him to leave his people and join the 7 ancient factions was impossible. She didn't talk much to persuade him. If I could leave, I would have left already. Shiryen smiled and then shook his head, talking to Yang Tian Emperor's group. Don't hasten. There's always a will. Give me more time. Yang Tian Emperor smiled and waved his hand. You guys should talk. I need to run some errands. Chao Qiu Dao and Shi Jian were also tactful. They smiled and then left. The worries they had settled. Both Yang Tian Emperor and Chao Qiu Dao were the heroes in the Endless Sea. After 100 years, they had been through so many kinds of dangers. Their minds and hearts were persistent and brave, such that nothing could compare. They would never be cracked easily by the current problem. Everybody dispersed as Shiryen, Bing Qingtong, and Han Shui sat together by the lake, where waves rippled beautifully with the sun, moon, and stars shining above their heads. Wind breezed, blowing the refreshing scent towards them. The three looked peaceful and harmonious. Have you ever missed us? Han Shui kept silent for a while and then asked weakly. Light flashed in her beautiful eyes as a trace of longing appeared on her charming face. Sometimes, Shiryen turned to look at her, flashing his white teeth in a radiant smile. The sinister and cold manners of the past vanished. But I'm so busy. Each step I've taken is full of danger. I've been fighting with many people. I don't have much time. It's all right. Bing Qingtong's soft, delicious lips parted as she whispered. We don't wish for many things. As long as we have a position in your heart, even if it's tiny, it's enough for us. Our ages are much different. We understand. We aren't matched. Bing Qingtong and Han Shui had been famous in the Divine Great Land for so many years. Their age was actually much bigger than his. However, women who cultivated martial arts could keep their youth as their realm increased. At the same time, their ice jade technique was specialized in retaining one's appearance. It helped them preserve their beauty forever. At first glance, they were just in their 20s. However, they knew their real ages. During the time they had spent together, they always felt small, as they thought that they had taken advantage of Shiryen. They had never wanted to occupy him. As time flew, Shiryen had reached the 3rd sky of Spirit Realm, the same realm as theirs. With their knowledge, they knew Shiryen would go on to a wider world. Their thought of occupying Shiryen had soon been cut off. In this great land, strong warriors could do what they wanted. They could rule the others, or they could destroy the whole world. Bing Qingtong and Han Shui had gawked at Shiryen's progress, watching him about to surpass them. Gradually, they felt helpless. They thought that they should seize the time and spend more time with him. Although this affection was short, it was enough to comfort their hearts. Most of the women treasured their love, and they would always want to sink into the river of love. Women who practiced martial arts didn't dare to fall in love. Since they weren't resolute like men, a relationship could entangle them for the rest of their lives, affecting their progress on the martial road. These 4 women knew that they had sunk deep into this affection after Shiryen left the Ice Emperor city. They always wanted to know his situation. During the quiet nights, they had yearned for that figure. We just want to stay with you more. Han Shui was usually a strong woman. But under this ambience, where the sun, moon, and stars reflected themselves radiantly in the lake, she seemed to turn weaker. We women are like that. When a man takes our hearts, we will become weak and useless. Shiryen sat quietly. A puzzled thought appeared in his eyes as he felt so many flavors appear in his heart. He had left them determinately because he considered the 4 women an ingredient of the love in his life. They weren't his main course. However, at the most critical moment, these 2 women didn't hesitate to go against the 7 ancient factions. They didn't care about their lives coming here for him. They were like a rock falling into the lake of his heart, rippling vehemently. I'm an inborn heartless. I'm selfish too. I'm not a good person. I don't know how to make up for your good deeds. Shiryen turned his head away, his eyes flurried. I still have you, in my heart. Light glowed from deep inside Bingqing Tong's and Han Shui's eyes. They seemed to be revived. Their soul, spirit, and mind seemed to be sublimated. Shi Yan was surprised. His soul consciousness started to sense as he said, Your souls seem to have changed. Bingqing Tong and Han Shui hadn't felt the change in their bodies yet. Hearing Shi Yan, a divine light sparkled in their eyes. Halos bloomed from them as their aura was changed obviously. After Shi Yan left, the inner world of Bingqing Tong and Han Shui wasn't steady. Their hearts were puzzled, and they couldn't progress their power. Both their soul and realm were affected, as they were all covered by a gray mist that they couldn't see through. This was Mara, the most dangerous obstacle in cultivating. If they couldn't get over it, they would have to stay in their current realm for the rest of their lives. At this moment, Mara in their hearts had been swept away, leaving their souls clean and safe. They no longer felt the dim curtain that restrained their hearts. Also, their realm seemed to be increased. Follow me. At this moment, you're about to break through easily. I'm making it up for you, giving you something that I can. Shi Yan stood up, waving his hand. A translucent halo covered the two women. Just like a meteor crossing through the perpetual night forest, Shi Yan brought Bingqing Tong and Han Shui swaying through many gaps in the forest. After an hour, they got to the lake. Releasing the earth flame, he took Bingqing Tong and Han Shui, who didn't understand anything, to the lake bottom, heading towards the Creator's divine pond. Near the ancient formation, Yi Changfeng, Li Zhengrong, and Di Shan were adjusting themselves with their eyes closed. Di Shan and Li Zhengrong had entered the true God realm, and they had created their God soul. At this moment, they were enhancing their new realm. Magical earth and heaven energies were twirling around them. Bingqing Tong and Han Shui didn't know Di Shan, but they knew Li Zhengrong. They couldn't help but shout, their faces astounded. The alchemists and blacksmiths in the divine Great Land were the groups of special people with noble status. They were famous, but their progress in martial cultivation was always slower than the other warriors. Even Bingqing Tong and Han Shui had heard about Li Zhengrong, who had been stuck in the spirit realm for so many years. They had never thought that Li Zhengrong could eventually break through to the true God realm and seclude in this ordinary lake. This was hard to believe. It's true. Old Li has entered the true God realm warrior. From now on, he has discovered a new world. Shi Yan smiled, pointing at the wonderful spiritual station. Bing Tong, you go in there then release your soul. Calm it down and let the station guide you. Bingqing Tong followed his words and flew up. She was still suspicious. When she was about to reach the station, she turned her head and asked, What will happen? 10 days later, you'll reach the true God realm. No risks. Nothing unexpected. Shi Yan smiled. Bingqing Tong and Han Shui were dumbstruck. Sisters-in-law, Shi Yan isn't joking. It's real. My teacher and Uncle Di Shan have finished that process. Yi Changfeng giggled, his face inviting people to beat him. Bingqing Tong and Han Shui were startled when he addressed them sister-in-law. They blushed, but joy filled their hearts. Go pursue the higher realm, Shi Yan urged. The beautiful eyes of Bingqing Tong and Han Shui glowed like the diamonds. They couldn't help but shiver. They were overwhelmed by this big joy. Chapter 649. A Beam of Hope for Dawn. Chapter 649. A Beam of Hope for Dawn. In the black pool. Black smog hovered above the pool. It seemed that this smoke would never disperse, rolling like the dark clouds and moving downward. Zwusher floated above the dark water, her face grimaced in pain. She was trying to take in the black smoke. Her aura gradually rocketed. Black lightning struck the pool, hitting Zwusher and getting into her soft body. Xianming stayed in the pool, using human form to emerge. His both hands were constantly dragging, pulling, and distorting the power of heaven and earth. He was forcefully pulling lightning and dark clouds in the sky, using his supernatural power to pour all of them into Zwusher's body. 6 hours later, the pain ceased from Zwusher's face. She then felt happy, dancing above the pool. 1 more hour later, Zwisher hummed, her face divine. She sang and then laughed. It works. A satisfied smile appeared on Xianming's face, which was covered in turtle shells. You little girl, your innate natural endowment is unbelievable. If you focus on your cultivating, your future will be unimaginable. However, you're mischievous. You met me too late. Otherwise, you should be at the true god realm now. Why do I need such power? Zwisher mumbled, talking disdainfully. Cultivating strenuous and not interesting at all. My monster teacher urges me every day. So annoying. Meeting you is worse. You are more annoying than that, Qishao. Don't force me, or I will hate you. Xianming beamed a forced smile. There are so many people in this land who want to be my disciple. Well, you're a lucky little girl. I'm doing this strenuous job to help you without any benefit, and you blame me daily. Sigh, life is so hard. Snort, Zwisher didn't pay attention to him. I've reached the spirit realm. Would you let me go now? No. Xianming's face stiffened. It's really complicated out there. If you go there, you will be involved. While they were talking, Xianming suddenly snorted and then shouted. Get your A*S here. All of you. Yanlong, Shuilai, nine-headed bird, glacial armor giant alligator, and silver-winged sky wolf appeared by the pool. All of them were using their true form, which was hundreds of meters tall. Xianming, our boss, what do you summon us for? Glacial armor giant alligator talked in a low tone. While he was talking, thick icy vapor emitted from his mouth. I still need a good weapon. I'm going to find that human kid and ask him for one. Xianming, our boss, if you don't have any important order, can I leave now? Silver-winged sky wolf cried impatiently. You bunch of idiots. Xianming's beard twitched. If I don't watch over you guys, you would be harmed to death. Perhaps you would know nothing, even if he was going to sell you. Yanlong's body, which was covered in flaming scales, shuddered as he roared indignantly. Xianming, our boss, could you not exaggerate? Sure, Yan treats us well. He helped us refine the body and a good weapon, too. He isn't an ordinary human. Shui Lai and Nine-Headed Bird also nodded, as they claimed that Shiryan had treated them well. Apparently, they stood on Shiryan's side. Stupid. Stupid. Xianming shook his head continually, his face as if he were at a funeral. My life is so hard. I have to watch over this group of idiots. Sigh, so annoying. You are so annoying. Xianming, old man, you said the other side is in danger. What do you mean? Zwisher suddenly got serious, frowning. My grandfather, is he going to meet danger? You should make it clear now. I'm going to tell you too, Xianming snorted. The people of the 7 ancient factions want to attack those humans. As far as I am concerned, at least 10 days or half a month later, they will carry out their operation. Listening to him, Zwisher's cute face paled. She cried immediately, I have to go back. I must go back. I won't allow you to go there. Xianming rolled his eyes at her. You want to go back to get killed? Let alone the fact you've just reached the spirit realm. Even if you were at the true god realm, only death is what awaits you there. You can't imagine how strong the 7 ancient factions force is. They have at least 10 true god realm warriors. What good is there for you if you go there? No. I have to go back. Xianming, old man, if you stop me, I will hate you forever. Zwisher screamed. Yanlong, Shuilai, Nine-Headed Bird were the rulers of the monster clan. From what Xianming said, they understood the matter, their faces darkening. I have to tell you clearly first, Xianming said with a serious complexion. This is the civil war of the human clan. You can help a little bit to pay back the favors, but you're not allowed to risk your lives. Our grandchildren of the monster clan dwell in this perpetual night forest. You shouldn't let the human civil war cause loss to us. Use your brain to think. Don't pioneer and be the idiots. Nine-Headed Bird, glacial armor giant alligator, and silver-winged sky wolf didn't answer, but Yanlong shouted, Shiryan has given us favors. We should help him. And, if he dies, who will help us refine the body? If all of you die, you don't need to refine your body anymore. Xianming rolled his eyes. If anyone goes against my order, I will kick his ass out of the perpetual night forest. I will never allow him to come back. After he said that, the 5 great monsters shut their mouths. But their eyes changed constantly. Xianming, old man, you have to help them. Otherwise, I'm not going to cultivate with you anymore. Even if you kill me, I'm not going to move my hands. Zuo cried bravely. Her soft body shivered. If my family faces something unexpected, I will hate you for the rest of my life. Xianming felt a headache coming. He grabbed his hard hair. At most, I'll bring the Zuo family here. I will keep them safe. No. Zuo shook her head resolutely. Shuryan used to help me. You have to save him too. That kid has a tremendous competence. I don't need to interfere. Sigh, he has messed up this perpetual night forest. That kid doesn't learn the rules. He's avoided me to make this bunch of idiots die for him. Save him? Impossible. Xianming shook his head continually. Zuo kept silent, pouting her lips to show her discontent. My little ancestor, why do you need to care about his life? Xianming felt the pain swell in his head. My life is so hard. You tell me, why do I need to save him? What makes him deserve that? That year, we were all in the quiet cloudland. He took us to the endless sea, and then the divine great land. Without him, I couldn't have met you. And, the thing I got, he helped me to translate. The black tortoise true star is thanks to his labors too. Zuo hastened to tell him the truth. Xianming was dazed. He frowned. Is it true? You're trying to fabricate it, aren't you? You fabricate it. Zuo snorted discontentedly. You can read my mind. Why don't you try? Xianming squinted. A shiny light crossed his eyes, entering Zuo's head. After a while, he pondered and then stroked his chin. It's true. Yeah, let me think. All right, you've reached the spirit realm. It's time to change the place to cultivate. If you progress fast to satisfy me, I will help that kid. Zuo's eyes brightened. Are you sure? I'm an old man. Why should I deceive a little girl like you? Xianming rolled his eyes, then cried with a painful face. This life is really hard. All right, I agree with you. But you have to help me. Zuo's face was filled with content. Cultivating, right? I'm not good at anything but this thing. Hehe. Hey, Xianming boss, how about us? The group of great monsters of the monster clan stared at him, waiting for his decision. Wait for my order. You guys can help them do something, but without my instruction, you're not allowed to get to the front line and slaughter. Understand? Xianming snorted and then thundered. All of you are idiots. After the great space fission, you are still stupid. Sigh, this life is really hard. As Yanlong and Shui Lai saw the situation having a chance to overturn, they didn't linger, moving their giant bodies and disappearing from the black pool. After the others all left, Xianming opened his mouth and drew all the thick black smog above the black pool. After that, he swung his hand to cover Zuo in black smog. He brought the little girl to a special area in the perpetual night forest, which would help her break through faster. Inside the creator's divine pond, Li Zhengrong slowly woke up, his eyes bright as stars. His aura was torrential, bringing a streak of the ancient times. Is that little girl Bing Qing Tong? He turned his head to see the creator's divine pond behind his back. He couldn't help but cry, then turned to Shuryan. What? Why are you so upset? Any problem? The 7 ancient faction forces are about to attack us, sighed Shuryan. Li Zhengrong's mood suddenly became heavy. He knew the dangerous features of the 7 ancient factions. He knew how bad it would be when they wanted to attack someone. He also knew that Shuryan's current force wasn't enough to counter such force. Have you found a solution yet? He frowned while asking. Shuryan shook his head. Li Zhengrong contemplated for a while and then said, You said you have the knowledge of a blacksmith. Should we start from there? Refining weapons? Shuryan shook his head and beamed a forced smile. Not enough time. The excellent treasures couldn't change the whole situation. I'm not talking about forging weapons. Li Zhengrong's face was serious. I'm talking about formations. I remember that there are so many powerful formations in the antiquity time. Some could even kill the King God Realm warriors. Shuryan's eyes brightened. He shuddered, then jolted up from his spot. He stood still for a while, as if he were searching for the information in his head. Later on, he beamed a wry smile. Difficult. Talking about materials, the monster clan has enough. But it's going to be a mega construction. I can't build it in a short time. What if the monster clan helps you? Li Zhengrong reminded him. As far as I know, the giant bodies of the beasts would be a great support in building massive constructions. Shi Yan was shaken as divine light shot out from his eyes. He laughed cheerfully. Old Li, you are truly extraordinary. We can try this. Thank you, Old Li. Haha, true. If the monster clan helps us, we can build the difficult ancient formation shortly. I think it will work. The problem that had troubled him for a long time finally had a beam of hope with Li Zhengrong's reminder. Chapter 650, Construct the City Walls. Chapter 650, Construct the City Walls. The gathering place of the Yang family. Beasts were moving back and forth, their giant bodies seeming like the black clouds in the sky. They were rumblingly stomping on the ground, carrying many cultivating materials on their backs. Each giant beast transporting the materials would shout its name contentedly. Then, it would smile servilely to a young man by the lake. Remember me. Remember to refine my body. I can help you. The young man by the lake lifted his head every time, smiled, and nodded to the beasts tirelessly. Yanlong, Shui Lai, nine-headed bird, glacial armor giant alligator, and silver-winged sky wolf would sometimes appear from the dense forest to order their soldiers, helping them to dig a tunnel underground. There appeared many ditches that connected to each other by the lake. Each ditch was dozens of meters deep. Humid steam diffused from them. Deep inside the ditches, one could see many sparkling lights. With a closer look, one would find they were all the top-grade essence crystals. Every warrior was moved on seeing them. These top-grade essence crystals came from the lake bottom near the Creator's divine pond. Each piece of them was precious, containing a massive amount of energy. So many top-grade essence crystals formed the foundation. But they just looked like the cushion for this formation. Looking from a bird's-eye view, it was a complicated drawing formed by so many ditches. Looking at that formation for a long time, people would feel their souls tremble, as if it were an evil force that could shake people's souls. Several thousand warriors of the Yang family, the Chao family, the Shi family, the Dark Devil clan, and the Winged clan stood in those ditches, constantly moving back and forth. Sweat covered their pale faces. If someone zoomed in each ditch 100 times, he would find a strange formation drawn at the bottom, which had the names of many materials. The crowd of the Yang family and the alien tribes were putting the distinctive materials into their exact locations and arranging the essence crystals neatly. A couple thousand members of the monster clan had been transporting materials for the whole 3 days. The heaven and earth products they had brought to this place were enough to cover the entire perpetual night forest. They were piled up like many big mountains. Super warriors like Yang Tian Emperor, Di Shan, and Li Zhengrong had become workers. They were using their tremendous power to build the underground foundation. Even some Earth Realm and Disaster Realm warriors were busy too. They all wanted to contribute their strength. When someone drained all his essence chi and got exhausted, he would come to the lake to receive the pellets. Mighty warriors like Yang Tian Emperor would use the spiritual herbs, the 10,000-year stalactites, or other chalcedonies to enhance their essence chi and spirit. They didn't regret using so many precious treasures, as they just wanted to restore the power at the fastest speed. This was willfully trampling on precious heaven and earth products. The area covered by the ditches was around 100 li squared, extending endlessly like giant dragons crawling on the ground, entangling with each other. This formation looked both strange and mysterious. After 8 days of strenuous labor, human warriors and beasts had cooperated to dig the ground and form the foundation. So many strange formations were carved and inlaid with different precious materials. The energy of the top-grade essence crystals had activated the miraculous jades and crystals. Lines of 100-meter-tall beasts brought the flame stones, diamonds, and rocks that were hard as steel, all from a distant place. Although they were of different kinds, they were all more rigid than steel and iron. Some stones were as big as a basketball court. 100 meters tall beasts carried them on their backs, which looked like they were carrying a whole small mountain. Countless steel-like stones were pushed into the ditches, piling higher and higher. Shi Yan and Yi Changfeng were using the Earth Flame and the Purgatory True Flame to burn those mega rocks. They extracted the contaminants and quenched the rock firmness, pouring their energy into them. Metals from many mines in the Perpetual Night Forest was melted into the blazing fluid, pouring into the ditches, covering the rigid stones. This scorching fluid enhanced the firmness of the stones, giving them a tremendous defending capacity. The ice-cold flame also flew out. Right after the blazing fluid was poured into their exact position, the flame would cool it immediately using its cold air. This fluid then merged with the rocks, just like its armor. Human warriors, pagans, and beasts were gathering, their spirits soaring up to the sky. They had gathered a massive amount of materials, using crystal stones, metals, mineral stones, jades, and gems to raise the area slowly. Eventually, it took the shape of a city, which was not really big. By the time the primitive form of the city was established, Shi Yan had become busier. He carved the formations on the city walls and on some special corners. At the same time, he had to tell Yang Tian Emperor and Yi Tian Mo to assign the next tasks to the monster clan. While they didn't pay much attention, the city situated in a 100-li squared area was getting taller, reaching the height of 100 meters. It had a square shape, even the top was sealed. They just left a giant door facing the sky, which looked more like a hole. The city was formed, but the atmosphere inside was still hustling and bustling. So many symbols and formation appeared on the walls. On the streets, piles of materials had been arrayed into different formations with different functions. Shi Yan was exhausted, and his eyes were dull. He was constantly using pellets and spiritual herbs to resist the fatigue. He didn't stop even at nights, as he was drawing the general outline for the entire city. All the beasts and pagans were working as he had planned. They increased the power and contributed their strength as he required. All of them were giving their best to build the city. 10 days later, the big city was vaguely formed. From the outside, it looked relatively big. The city walls sparkled with a silver light. Under the light of the sun, moon, and stars, it looked more like a silver mountain range, radiating gloriously. Shi Yan was busier. He was flying back and forth in the city, portraying formations, naming the materials that they needed more of, talking to the monster clan, and assisting Yang Tian Emperor's team in arranging their manpower. He was exhausted like an old dog. Present day. A senile old man with white hair and beard took a beautiful young girl and crossed this place. They were stunned on seeing the radiant city. "Grandpa, since when has a city been here?" The little girl had a pair of eyes as bright as stars. Her small face looked like an apple, blushing lovely, showing that she was an active girl. The old man held a dragon cane in his wrinkled hand. His eyes were turbid. It seemed he couldn't see things clearly. He squinted, gazing the silver city that had just appeared for a while. His smoky eyes started to show his interest. Who knows? From the structure, I can see it's not built by ordinary people. Interesting. Is that the 7 ancient factions work? The young girl was surprised for a while and then asked suddenly. The 7 ancient factions should be staying in the ice and fire secret domain, right? 7 ancient factions. The old man contemplated for a while and then shook his head. No, not them. Lin Meng and Nia Rua wouldn't take the risk. The alien tribes are operating around the Perpetual Night Forest. If they are smart enough, they won't show themselves. Oh, then I don't know, the little girl chuckled. Suddenly, she seemed to be interested in this place. Grandpa, can we go there and check it out? The old man didn't answer. He frowned, gazing at the silver city. Eventually, he found many beasts coming in and out the city, which astounded him more. Grandpa, the little girl urged. The old man woke up. He thought and then smiled with a nod, stroking the girl's head. Tell me, little Ling. All right, we will go there and see. We aren't hurried to see the ice and fire domain anyway. The old man and the little girl sauntered toward the silver city. When they were about to reach the city gate, they slowed down. People, who are you? A clean but cold voice arose from the city, full of vigilance. We are the lucky humans that still survive in the Grace mainland. As we heard the Perpetual Night Forest is relatively safe, we come here to avoid the pagans' slaughter. Li Feng was standing in a watchtower inside the city. Hearing him, she was astounded. After considering for a while, she couldn't help but report to Yang Tian Emperor. Yang Tian Emperor came. From the watchtower, he carefully observed the old man and the young girl. He felt really strange. Yang Tian Emperor, at his realm, figured out that the old man seemed to be an ordinary elder. He had no energy fluctuations, and his vitality was weak. Quite the contrary, the little girl was a peak of Sky Realm warrior. However, her aura was powerful. Energy fluctuated around her body. At this level, even a spirit realm warrior was worse than her. Yang Tian Emperor wasn't so sure. He hesitated, then sent a message to Yan Tiamo. Not long afterward, Yi Tian Mo and Di Shan came. They gazed at the old man for a while, but they couldn't find anything else. They shook their heads, not knowing what to do with this case. This Silver City hadn't been finished. If a strong expert with malicious intention came, he could affect the entire construction. But if they didn't let these two come in, the beasts or pagans in the Perpetual Night Forest would kill them. As the old man saw no response from the city, he threw the little girl a glance to signal her. The girl cheered up immediately. Then, she used a grimaced face while speaking. Please, I'm begging you. Please let us in. We've been struggling the whole time until we got here. It's not been easy for us to survive until now. You're humans, right? Please help us. Yang Tian Emperor frowned. He hesitated for a while, then took out the sound stone to contact Shi Yan. Shi Yan was using pellets to restore his energy. He pondered, then said, "Let them in. However, we should be watchful. Always keep an eye on them. Don't let them leave our sight." Yang Tian Emperor stopped the communication. He nodded to Li Feng. Pay attention to them. You're in charge of watching them. Don't let them go to the center. Li Feng shouted with a severe countenance. Let them in. The little girl was cheered up as she continually said thanks and entered the city. The old man didn't walk immediately. He frowned, looking at the shining silver city and the beasts moving back and forth. He seemed to be sinking into his thoughts. Little Ling, don't mess up in the city. Where the owner doesn't allow, don't trespass. Understand? The old man caught up with the little girl, asking her in a low tone. The young girl was surprised. She turned around to look at him, then nodded. She seemed to feel so strange in her heart. Chapter 651, Dispel Visitors. Chapter 651, Dispel Visitors. After the old man and the young girl got into the city, Li Feng arranged them to stay in a big stone room in the outer region. Then, she asked the visitors about their origin. My name's Long Ju. I'm a hunter in the divine Great Land. This is my granddaughter, Long Ying. A warrior chose her to be his disciple when she was young, so she got some achievements. Thanks to her, I could dodge the pagans and survive until now. Eventually, we got the chance to come to the Perpetual Night Forest. The old man named Long Ju answered neither slowly nor fast. His eyes were misty. Longing smiled, but didn't say anything. Li Feng frowned, looking at them for a while, but she couldn't figure anything else. She then said begrudgingly, "You guys stay here. This is the outer area of the city. You can go wherever you want. However, please excuse us as you are not allowed to enter the center of the city." Long Ju smiled and nodded. "We will remember." "Thank you, miss." Li Feng nodded, leaving with a skeptical look on her face, as if she felt something was wrong. Waiting until she left, Li Zhengrong knocked the dragon cane on the wall of the room with a strange countenance. After a while, he frowned, his face astounded. He seemed to get something. "How is it, Grandpa?" Longing laughed cheerily. "Excellent," Li Zhengrong smiled and then said, "This stone wall is made of a combination of different rigid stones. Very good for defending. Seems it was quenched with high temperature. Really good. The one who could build the city should be a peerless blacksmith. In our divine Great Land, Only some can achieve this. Longing was terrified. So, this place is a base of human clan? Grandpa, why don't you use your soul consciousness to sense? Li Zhongrong shook his head as he explained smilingly. It's not polite to do so. They're nice enough to let us in. We shouldn't break the rules. In any place, using the soul consciousness to peep into people's secrets is taboo. You little girl, you shouldn't mess up here. Harumph. Long Ying's eyes were disdainful. With your power, even if the pagans are raging, we're still all right. Without them, we still live well. It's different. Girl, you have to be thankful. Li Zhongrong shook his head grudgingly. This city isn't finished. They have to bear big risks by letting us in. Haha, their bearings aren't similar to the 7 ancient factions. If they were Lin Meng or Niarua, they would give us no chance to visit the place. So why do we need to go to the ice and fire secret domain? Lin Meng and Niaro, even if they are more selfish, they belong to our human clan. They are protecting the human bloodline. They've saved many people. Li Zhongrong frowned, his face gloomy. If the alien tribes are about to attack us on a big scale, we have to contribute our part. Shi Yan didn't put those 2 people in his mind. He was still busy portraying the formations. He continually made the hand seals and released his energy to imprint the walls. The Silver City had 6 gates. Besides the 4 general directions, it had 2 more gates in the roof and underground. The underground gate led to the deep place in the earth, connecting with the Earth's pulse. The city was divided into the outer and the inner areas. The outer city was arranged with countless traps and dangers, created by so many barriers and formations. The inner part took 1/5 of the entire city, which was established with a giant universe soul-gathering formation. It could take the energy of heaven and earth through the gate in the roof. To build the city, Shi Yan owed the monster clan a big deal, as he had almost gathered all of their sources. The Yang family, the Chao family, the Winged clan, and the Dark Devil clan had temporarily stopped their cultivating process to focus on this mega construction. Of course, without the monster clan's contribution, it was impossible to build such massive city in short time like this with only the human labor. Li Zhongrong had given him the inspiration. Little Yan, don't destroy yourself like that. Take a break. No need to hasten. Shi Jian came out of nowhere, walking to the lake with affection on his face. Shi Yan smiled, looking really tired. It's okay. I can still endure. The force of the 7 ancient factions would come here in any minute. We have a little time. We must do our best to survive the pressure from the 7 ancient factions. Shi Jian sighed. Your grandpa's useless. I can't help you much. Sigh. When we came to the Endless Sea, we knew how small we were. But when we came to the Divine Great Land, we realized that we were the worst. Our vision is narrow. If we could go to the Endless Sea or the Divine Great Land earlier, we would have been able to help you better perhaps. It's all right. As long as we live, we still have time for everything. Shi Yan comforted him. Grandpa, you should go to work. Please take care of the others. Ask them to save their strength. Don't get paralyzed due to tiredness. These days, many people had fainted because of running out of energy and bearing the big pressure. A vigorous warrior fainted, which showed how exhausted his people were. Although Li Zhongrong had refined many pellets, the number of warriors who needed to use pellets was increasing. Their medicines and pellets were in a shortage. Luckily, at the critical time, the Chao family, Fan Xiangyun and Man Gu had given the medicines and pellets they had stored for 100 years. At this difficult moment, they had used the pellets to support for a while. Otherwise, it wasn't just a small number who would have had passed out. It had come to the most critical time. No one had a different thought. To survive, they had put forth everything, becoming united more than ever before. People supplemented pellets, spiritual herbs, materials, and their physical strength. In hopeless situations, people's potential would bloom. It was worth every moment. Without the city, they would never have had this state. Another day had gone by. In the thick forest outside the Silver City, a group of 100 human warriors was talking boisterously while walking in the forest. They all wore beautiful clothes. Two elders took this group, an old woman with a glowing face and an energetic old man. They knew each other, as they were discussing something along the way, their faces solemn. Right behind them were dozens of spirit realm warriors, and some sky realm and nirvana young men. All of them looked vigorous. Among them were two appealing women. Surprisingly, they were He Qing Man and Chu Yan Qing of the Endless Sea. They were talking with each other in a low tone. Their faces were gorgeous. The long trip didn't wear them out. It only tangled their hair, giving them a different wild beauty. Chu Yanqing didn't wear her mask. Her beautiful face, which could even bring down a whole city, was exposed like a naturally magnificent gemstone. People would be mesmerized looking at her. It was unknown what they had experienced, but they had reached the peak of Sky Realm. Their aura was thick and surging, as waves of energy rippled from them. There were many Nirvana and Earth Realm warriors walking near them. Sometimes they would peep on them, revealing their yearning emotion with the hot look. Qing Man. We will arrive at the Ice and Fire secret domain soon. It's where the 7 ancient factions of the human clan gather in the divine Great Land. It should be interesting there. I know many people of the 7 ancient factions. Can I take you around to visit the place? A handsome young man holding a jade ruler chuckled, talking naturally. He Qing Man frowned, but it was almost invisible. She shook her head. Wei Zhai, I'm not close to you. Please don't call me Qing Man anymore. Wei Zhai didn't change his countenance and just chuckled. You little girl, you're so polite. My teacher and your teacher have a good relationship. So, you're my little sister. Why should we be too distant? I can't reach that high. He Qing Man talked with a cold face as she was impatient. Wei Zhai was good at observing the situation. He got it right away, so didn't say anything more. He shifted his look to Chu Yanqing. However, right before he was about to speak up, Chu Yanqing sneered. Stop it. You can try your luck with the others. You're not my type. Wei Zhai was always dissolute, and it wasn't a secret here. Girls falling into his hands would be ignored when he got tired of them. He didn't consider his dissoluteness a shame, but pride. He often bragged about the details of his hunting for beauties, which ashamed his exes. However, Wei Zhai was the biggest disciple of the old man who took the lead of this group. He had the spirit realm cultivation base. Not only did he have a profound realm, but he also had the benefits of distributing pellets and materials, which made the other girls, despite the crooked facts about him, admire him and want to be with him. Usually, these girls would lose both their bodies and reputation. People from the barbarian place like the Endless Sea, where no heroes were born, what do you have to have such cold manner? Wei Zhai was surprised, but he didn't get angry. He still babbled. I just want to befriend you guys. We can talk. We can discuss the cultivating techniques we like. Perhaps you are overthinking. No heroes. Chu Yanqing frowned, snorted, then said, as I know, when Shi Yan arrived in the divine Great Land, he defeated Lai Feng. Wei Zhai, you said that you're cool. Can you beat Lai Feng? Wei Zhai put on a dark and sinister complexion. He shouted coldly. Shi Yan again. Along this trip, how many times have you mentioned that name? I'm so annoyed by this name. It's you who said that our Endless Sea has no good heroes. If you can defeat Shi Yan, I will consider you the number 1. Now what? He Qing Man intervened disdainfully. Shi Yan had spent 10 years to reach the peak of Sky Realm. Could you do that? Wei Zhai's face became more grimaced. Brother Wei, why do you need to get angry over a dead man? Even if he is more dangerous, the pagans will kill him soon. You don't need to be like that. A young man interfered. Wei Zhai smiled faintly. I hope he's dead. Otherwise, harumph. However, this troop stopped all of a sudden. The old woman and Wei Zhai's teacher were surprised, looking at a dazzling silver city from a distance. Ah, a city's over there. Last time when I came here to train, it didn't exist. The young man who had just interfered them acclaimed. He Qing Man and Chu Yanqing looked at the area ahead of them. They didn't know what mysterious thing was over there. Chapter 652, I'm the Master. Chapter 652, I'm the Master. The group of around 100 warriors was gazing at the silver city from the thick forest, all wearing strange faces. Yanku and Wendi, the two leaders, were the secluded experts in the divine Great Land. He Qingman, Chu Yanqing, Wei Zhai, and the other young people behind them were the two's disciples. Some other spirit realm warriors were their followers. Besides Yanku and Wendi at the second sky of True God Realm, this group had a dozen spirit realm warriors. The others had the Earth Realm or Nirvana Realm cultivation base, and they were pretty young. This force, in any aspects, was not worse than any other forces of the 7 ancient factions. Moreover, they were the elite warriors with unimaginable potential. When they reached the Silver City, Li Feng Air and the others were watching from the guard tower. Their faces became solemn immediately. Abruptly, waves of silver light rose from the city walls. Magical patterns appeared on the walls. There were drifting clouds, enormous mountains, flying birds, and swimming fishes, etc. All looked really animated, as if they were real objects, carrying magical energy. Longju and Longing immediately felt the movement from inside the city. They couldn't hide their surprise, walking out of the stone room. They stood on the high wall, peeping from a corner. Longing acclaimed with surprise. Why are Grandma Yan and Master Wen here too? Longju didn't reveal any emotion, talking indifferently. Only the secret domain in the Perpetual Night Forests, the human shelter at this moment. As the alien tribes want to kill human clan one for all, they come here to contribute their part. Grandpa, are we going to meet them? Longing asked in a low tone. Shaking his head, Longju said, no need to hurry. Let's see what the host will do. Yanku and Wendi's team is different from us. They bring too many people. They didn't try to conceal the force. When such a force appears, the master of this place will show himself to see the situation. Longju had stayed in the Silver City for 2 days. He kept being surprised because of the different ancient formations portrayed here and there. Moreover, he was struck seeing the big investment of this city. Everything made him so curious about the owner of the Silver City. He wanted to know what kind of a genius in the divine Great Land could make the monster clan serve him. The ancient formations here were also a mystery to Longju. He didn't know the purpose of the owner building a Silver City here. So Grandpa, you need to be careful. Don't let them see you. Longing smiled. Longju nodded nonchalantly. Don't worry. We'll just watch the scene. Great work. Yanku and Wendi observed the Silver City for a while, looking at the countless drawings of formations appearing on the wall. Their countenance slightly changed, as they were crying with astonishment. He Qingman and Chu Yanqing gawked. They were scared by the energy fluctuation from the city walls, not daring to utter a word. Wei Zhai had stopped his flirting, gazing at the Silver City. He put on a serious face while fear filled his eyes. He had visited the Perpetual Night Forest several times, so he knew this place was the monster clan's territory. Many tremendous beasts lived here. Moreover, after the 7 ancient factions came here, they had been hiding in the ice and fire secret domain. They didn't dare to provoke the monster clan. Today, a majestic city had grown in the monster clan's territory. This was uncommon. When Yanko and Wendi were talking, some beasts transporting the materials flew out of the city, soaring into the sky. The beasts glared at them, snorted, then flew away. Glacial armor giant alligator. Yanko's visage changed. She couldn't help but shout, her eyes sharp. I'm sure the monster clan can't have such exquisite attainment. This Silver City isn't something they can build themselves. Wendi frowned, his face dark and gloomy. Might be the monster clan has forced some excellent blacksmiths to build the city for them. 1 or 2 blacksmiths could never be able to build such massive city. I think there's something we don't know. Yanka shook her head. Just wait, I think the owner will come. I really want to see who dares to join the monster clan like that. Should we go to the ice and fire secret domain first? We should tell the 7 ancient factions, then see how they deal with this Silver City, right? Wendi was hesitant. It's okay. As long as we don't have any dispute with them, there would be no problem, said Yanko. He Qingman and Chu Yanqing looked at the Silver City, their faces astounded. In the city center, Shi felt exhausted. He looked at the magical symbols and formation inlaid deep in the ground, and the Yang family soldiers putting the special materials in their exact locations in the formation. He relaxed a bit. Right at this moment, his sound stone transferred Yang Tian Emperor's thought. Shi Yan immediately got the news that almost 100 warriors were gathering outside the city, their identities unknown. Shi Yan looked distressed with his disheveled hair and dirty face. His clothes had many folds, his face was gloomy, and his eyes were dull. These were the signs of consuming too much essence qi and soul consciousness. "I'll be there right now," Shi Yan sent his thought to the sound stone. A glorious silver light bloomed from a formation under his feet, covering his entire body. Shi Yan disappeared instantly. A similar formation on the wall in outside area of the city glowed. A silhouette emerged from the rigid stone wall, gradually appearing in front of Yan Ke and Wen Di. He Qing Man and Chu Yan Qing shivered as light sparkled from their beautiful eyes. It was unbelievable to them. They had to cover their mouths so as to not shout. In the crowd, they gazed at the young man. Dust covered his face, and his clothes were wrinkled. Shi Yan stood atop the wall. His eyes raked through Yan Ke and Wen Di, then he took out some pellets, swallowing them all. After that, his countenance looked a little bit better. From a corner of the city wall, Longju sighed, his face odd. The owner didn't come, but he let a junior talk for him. This isn't how we treat the guests. Longing glared at Shi Yan from a far distance. She wore a strange smile on her face. This man looks sloppy. He dares to meet people with that appearance. Well, doesn't he know that he should wash his face? He ate some pellets in front of so many people. He has exposed his weak essence qi. I think the master of this place isn't a good person. His arrangement isn't good either. He Qing Man covered her mouth. Her beautiful eyes gazed at the young man on the wall without blinking. Her soft body shivered. Shi Yan hadn't recognized the two beauties he knew from the crowd in front of his eyes. He took in the pellets, then closed his eyes to adjust his body. Afterward, he said casually, "Where are you from? Where do you want to go?" Wen Di took one step forward, frowned, then thundered. "Kid, tell your seniors to talk to us. Where's your master?" His voice pitched as rumbling thunder, reverberating without ceasing. "Don't mess up with us," Shi Yan shouted impatiently. His face darkened. "I'm the master. If you have no business here, you should leave early." The city construction had come to the critical point. Shi Yan didn't want to waste much time with strangers. He couldn't help but urge them to leave. This group wasn't similar to Longju and Longing. Yang Tian Emperor and Li Feng Heir couldn't recognize Longju's real cultivation base, so they had just considered him an old man. And longing at the peak of Sky Realm, Yang Tian Emperor didn't consider her a threat. This group of Yan Ke and Wen Di was different. They didn't conceal their aura and competence. The 2-second sky of True God Realm experts were enough to shake the later phase of their construction. Moreover, a dozen of Spirit Realm warriors could also affect the finishing of their city. If they let them in, once they had the malicious thought, although the Silver City could make them pay a bloody price, it would affect the progress of the construction badly. At first glance, Shi Yan decided not to let them in the city, but he also didn't want to provoke them. "You're the master?" Wen Di was a hot-tempered person. He shouted, "Kid, don't waste my time. I just want to ask your master. Why does he stay with the alien tribes? You are human. Why don't you go to the Ice and Fire secret domain? What do you want to do here? What do we want to do?" Shi Yan's face was mocking. "We build the city not to prevent the alien tribes, but to defend against the 7 ancient factions." At that moment, not only Yan Ke and Wen Di, but Longju and Longing in the city were also dumbstruck. Shi Yan didn't want to talk much with them, waving his hand. "Sorry, we have our errands to run. Forgive us that we can't treat you well. The Ice and Fire secret domain isn't far from here. We're not going to accompany you." Then, he strolled into the city wall. His body was like it was made of water that could merge with any part of the city wall with no restriction. His figure flashed and disappeared. Numerous symbols and formations glowed on the city walls. The 4 gates at the 4 directions of the city started to diffuse a dangerous aura. Yan Ke and Wen Di became grimaced. They were all secluding experts. They hadn't interfered with the matters of the divine Great Land for a long time. However, Lin Meng and Niaro always had to treat them with excellent etiquette. They wouldn't be so rude. Shi Yan's behavior had irritated them. Did we create a grudge with them? After Shi Yan got back, Yang Tian Emperor frowned then talked to him. The others are strong. Your behavior will create more enemies for us. How could I not know that? Shi Yan sighed, however, we can't let them in. Once they show their hostility, we can't bear the consequence. And they're racist. Apparently, they don't go the same way as us. We can't persuade them. Yang Tian Emperor nodded, then forget it. But what if they attack us now? Can we resist it? Not a big deal. Although this utmost 8 purgatory city hasn't finished, its power isn't simple. If they want to get it, it would be their bad luck. Shi Yan beamed a faint smile, his face arrogant. Yang Tian Emperor felt safe. He didn't talk more. Chapter 653. Wind and Clouds Move. Chapter 653. Wind and Clouds Move. Yanko and Wendy kept silent outside the Silver City. They didn't dare to act rashly. In the crowd, He Man Qing and Chu Yanqing wanted to call Shi Yan, but they restrained their emotions eventually. Looking at the formations where dangerous energy was rippling, they felt like they were in the 2 different worlds. He was within their reach, yet they couldn't touch him. We should go, Yanka shook her head eventually. It's not easy to break this city. Perhaps the 7 ancient factions know them. When we get the information, it's not too late to come back. Wendy agreed with her decision. He looked at the Silver City for a while then turned around, taking his team to leave the place. He Man Qing and Chu Yanqing lagged to the end of the team. Sometimes they turned their heads to look at the Silver City, their complexion begrudging. Yang Tian Emperor's group exhaled in relief seeing they leaving. Yanku and Wendy had profound cultivation base, and their warriors were also elite. If they had to fight with them, even if they won, their construction would be delayed. This wasn't what they wanted to see. Right after Yanko and Wendy left, Bing Qing Tong and Han Shui came to the Silver City from the lake. The 2 of them had the true God realm cultivation base now. Shi Yan was joyful as he got to know that the 2 women had broken through a new realm. He then started to arrange for Yi Tian Mo and Yura. Yi Changfeng stayed in that lake because only the heaven flames could open the formation sealing the lake. After Yi Tian Mo and Yura got there, he would return to the city, using his purgatory true flame to help Shi Yan refine the city. Everything got back to its neat order. And Shi Yan was still busy as ever. The Ice and Fire Secret Domain. Inside an ice-stone building, 3/3 sky of Spirit Realm were guarding a secret chamber. Today, Xia Qingho came to the chamber. After the 3 warriors gave him the signal, he was allowed to get in. Thick spiritual qi drifted in the air, bobbing like clusters of cloud inside the chamber. Xia Xinyan was sitting on a massive jade cushion. The dazzling light was twirling around her. She recognized the visitor while cultivating. She opened her eyes, as beautiful as stars in the sky, and smiled at him. Great-grandpa, why do you come here? Xia Qingho watched here and there. He pondered for a while, then said, Little Yen, Shi Yan's in the Perpetual Night Forest. Xia Xinyan's bright eyes twinkled. Where's he? Has he arrived in the Ice and Fire Secret Domain yet? Shaking his head, Xia Qingho's eyes were complicated. He stays in the Perpetual Night Forest. He refused to go to the Ice and Fire Secret Domain. Yunhao, the master of the Radiant God cult, invited him many times, but he rejected his invitation. He wants to befriend the alien tribes. Xia Xinyan frowned. He's always like that. What? Is he in danger? The 7 ancient factions want to kill him. Xia Qingho struggled in his head for a while. Eventually, he decided to tell the truth. The 7 ancient factions have a big resentment with the alien tribes. Anybody who joins the alien tribes will be treated as a traitor. At this moment, besides the Radiant God cult and the Fighting Union, the other 5 forces are prepared. Soon, they will kill Shi Yan and the Yang family. I don't want to conceal things from you. But I don't want you to get involved either. Xia Xian Yen suddenly shot up as anger filled her jade-like face. Great-grandpa, didn't you send messages to him and ask him to be careful? No, I didn't. I didn't take that risk. For the Xia family, I don't want to reveal any weakness the others could use to threaten us. Once someone finds it, not only the Xia family would be in danger, but your future would also be affected. You will be the leader of the Pure Land in the future, the hope of humankind. I don't want you to get involved in this mess. Xia Qingho sighed begrudgingly. You should give up that relationship. The Yang family is besotted. It's their choice that they want to be with the alien tribes. We can't force them to follow us. At most, we shouldn't join the operation. Great-grandpa. Xia Xian Yen was enraged. Without Shi Yan, you would have never regained your sanity, and the Xia family would have no chance to visit the divine Great Land. Even me, it would have been impossible to break through the true God realm that fast. He didn't regret giving you and me the life original fluid. People should be thankful and repay the favors they have received. How could you behave like that? I have no choice. For the Xia family, for your future, I could do nothing. Xia Qingho didn't seem to be regretful, his face resolute. Little Yen, although Shi Yan isn't ordinary, he has chosen the opposite way. When he made his decision, he should have expected what would happen. However, he still chose that way. A man like him is very dangerous. He wouldn't resist for long in this life. I don't dare to agree with your assessment. Xia Xian Yen felt a big shame struck her heart. She looked at her great-grandpa with a solemn face. I have to go out. Not allowed. The freaky childlike voice of Lin Meng arose from outside. After a while, she got into the secret chamber. She glared at Xia Qingho. You should get out first. Xia Qingho bent to greet her, then left. Teacher, why? Xia Xian Yen talked with a solemn countenance. Why do you have to target Shi Yan? Because of me? Yes. Lin Ming nodded without any hesitation. His existence will affect your progress. To women, love is the biggest Mara in their hearts, especially to warriors who are wholeheartedly dedicated to the cultivation. As long as he's still alive, he's always a door leading to death in your heart. He will affect the whole life of yours. Teacher, is it true that you have never been in love with any man? Xia Qingho asked as if she weren't afraid of this woman. I have, but I killed him myself. That's why I don't have any knots in my heart, Lin Ming answered faintly. Xia Xian Yen was frightened. I want the best things for you. In the future, you will surpass me and become the true leader of our human clan. You have to clean up Shi Yan, your Mara. If you can't, as your teacher, I'm responsible for helping you. Lin Meng said in a low tone. No need. Xia Qingho was persistent. I don't want you to control everything of mine. I'm not your puppet. Everything I do is for you. No matter you want it or not, as long as it benefits you, I will do anything. Lin Ming snorted. I allowed your great-grandpa to tell you everything is to show you that your teacher has never deceived you. Even if you want to hate me, I want to give you a clear reason for your hatred. Then, Lin Ming's figure faded out until she disappeared completely from the secret chamber. Observe her. When you detect something abnormal, report me to immediately. Lin Meng advised the 3 guards outside the chamber. You think it's not good? One of them asked. It's all right. She will feel hurt for a while. But she will get rid of it soon, Lin Meng coldly said. She will hate you. Then let her hate me. If she makes me her target to kill, I will be more joyful. In this special stage, she needs strong treatment. I always force her to cultivate. However, her motivation is not strong enough. If she makes killing me her purpose, she will try her best. That's what I want to see. Outside the Perpetual Night Forest, many members of the Ghostmark clan were floating in the air. Comoros was holding written charm scripture in his hands with his dark face, using his soul consciousness to move it, making it more disorderly. This group of Ghostmark clan was waiting for something. After a long time, a light appeared in the sky from the left of the Ghostmark clan. It enlarged into the dead soul's evil lair. Clansmen of the Dark Spirit clan strolled out from their lair. There was no emotion in their eyes. A long time after the dead soul's evil lair arrived, they saw a Dark Spirit clan member walked out of the cave. Iveson, who had joined hands with Comoros, and the other 3 members of the Dark Spirit clan bent their bodies with great respect when they saw that man. That clansman of the Dark Spirit clan had empty eyes. Thick dead aura diffused from him, as if he had just come from the space of death. As soon as he arrived, everybody seemed to cease to be. "Master, the Ghostmark clan got here before us." Iveson stooped and said in a low tone. The member of the Dark Spirit clan, who appeared the last, just nodded, but he didn't say anything. All clansmen of the Dark Spirit clan stood silently, as if they were the wooden rooters. No one dared to utter a word. After a while, a 5-colored banner appeared on the horizon. That banner was moving rapidly, carrying many members of the Dark Clan standing upright on the banner. The 3 Yama kings Abi, Hades, and Haetion, who used to stir up the entire endless sea, stood in a triangle. A dark blue light appeared in their midst with many shades of light, such that people couldn't see the thing inside clearly. Vaguely, they could see something moving in there. The 3 Yama kings seemed to consider the thing in that dim blue halo their master. When they had just arrived, they immediately reported to that blue halo. They sometimes pointed to the place where the Dark Spirit clan and the Ghostmark clan were gathering. Crack, crack, crack. Sometimes, they could hear the cracking sounds of bones rubbing against each other underground. Not long after that, the ground under their feet cracked into a big, deep abyss. Right after that, many coffins emerged from the ground. Members of the Corpse clan got out directly from Earth one by one. Corpse Mount and Corpse Sea were protecting a massive coffin standing in the middle of the Corpse clan's crowd, which looked very special. "Corpse Chief, you're late." The member of the Dark Spirit clan, who appeared the last, said in a feeble tone. His voice was mournful and sad like a resentful spirit crying in people's ears. "I'm not the one who comes the last. Someone is even later than me." A sharp voice that sounded like swords slashing on a stone echoed from the coffin that Corpse Mount and Corpse Sea were protecting. It was quite unpleasant to the ears. At the same time, giant beasts appeared from the north and the east. Experts of the Demon Clan were riding those beasts. They were the 2 different forces of the Demon Clan. One of them was the ancient Bao family that Shiryen had met before. Bao Ao was their leader. The other force was also strong, no less than Bao Ao's. It was the ancient Jie family of the Demon Clan, led by Jie. This man had a lozenge mark on his forehead. Strange energy rippled from it which could shake souls. Bao Ao and Jie came from the strongest ancient families of the Demon Clan. They had come from Demon Clan spaces outside the Grace mainland. At the same time, the 2 leaders were also rivals. They had always battled to unite the Demon Clan. Bao Ao and Jie took several thousand elite warriors of the clan, riding on demonic beasts. Their force was so strong that they could press the other alien tribes. They had arrived the last, as if they were so certain about their leading role. Dark Clan, Corpse Clan, Dark Spirit Clan, and Ghostmark Clan were the 5 great alien tribes on the Divine Great Land at this moment. They all showed up outside the Perpetual Night Forest as per the appointment made beforehand. Chapter 654, Master Acceptance Ceremony. Chapter 654, Master Acceptance Ceremony. The real name of the Silver City was the Utmost 8 Purgatory City. It was divided into 8 directions, including the 4 directions east, south, west, north, the sky, the ground, the life gate, and the death gate. The city had 2 parts, the outer part and the center part, supported by countless barriers, restrictions, and formations. To build the city, Shiryen had used almost all of his efforts, using the precious materials that the monster clan in the Perpetual Night Forest had treasured for thousands of years. With the contribution of the monster clan, the Yang family, and the alien tribes, they had completed the city. Today, Yang Tian Emperor, Di Shan, Chao Qiu Dao, Bing Qing Tong, and Han Shui were gathering near Shiryen. A massive piece of silver crystal stood in the center of the city. It had many carvings of symbols, written charms, and scriptures. A radiant light was moving around this crystal, giving people a beautiful view that could touch their hearts. This silver crystal was as big as a basketball court. It was solid and no leaks or cracks could be found. portrayed lines of energy intertwined complicatedly that was hard to describe. You must use the divine weapon to be the formation eye? Young Tian Emperor's face was heavy. He balled his hands into fists, showing that he was tense. Just like him, the other people were holding their breath, waiting solemnly. They were waiting to see the moment when the utmost 8 purgatory city was complete. It must be a divine weapon. And only divine weapons can make the utmost 8 purgatory city move and resist the counterforce of this great formation. Yan was breathing regularly as if he were really calm. But only him knew how nervous he was at this moment. Divine weapons. In the divine great land, only the leaders of the 7 ancient factions could have. Yan, do you actually have one? Li Zhengrong's voice was uncertain. His eyes sparkled as he wasn't so sure. If they didn't have a divine weapon to become the formation eye, the effort they had spent during this period was wasted. The utmost 8 purgatory city couldn't perform its power, which meant they couldn't withstand the 7 ancient factions' attack. Yan still looked disheveled and dusty like before. He even had some tears on his clothes. At this moment, he looked like a beggar. Nothing in him made him look like the real owner of the Silver City, the master behind the scene who had reached everywhere to gather the sources and build the city. Divine weapon? I do have one. At this critical moment, even Yan had become hesitant. He wasn't so sure. Yang Tian Emperor and Li Zhengrong didn't talk more. They kept silent, looking at him, waiting for his next move. Taking a deep breath, Yan summoned the Sky Destroyer Divine Sword and stroked the Blood Vein Ring gingerly. He believed that both the Sky Destroyer and the Blood Vein Ring were divine-grade treasures. However, he couldn't decide which treasure to use to be the formation eye and control the utmost 8 purgatory city. The Sky Destroyer Divine Sword was powerful. With this sword, he could use the enormous energy during fighting, which would benefit him a lot. And the Blood Vein Ring. It had the whole world inside. The War Devil, the Earth Flame, the Ice-Cold Flame, the Vanishing Corpse Flame stayed inside the ring. Once he used the Blood Vein Ring to be the formation eye, his life in the future would be full of struggles. Everybody kept silent. Even the hotshots like Yang Tian Emperor and Li Zhengrong didn't have divine weapons to use. Although the Grace mainland was vast, divine treasures were still the scarcest items. They weren't something ordinary people could keep. They wanted to contribute, but they didn't have such things to give. Yan slammed his brows together. He hesitated for a while, and eventually, he decided to use the Sky Destroyer Divine Sword to be the formation eye. Once this thought popped up in his mind, he stopped hesitating, using the soul consciousness to drive the divine sword and his will spirit to guide the sword stabbing in that massive crystal. The divine sword sparkled, then disappeared, leaving a concave spot on the crystal. After 15 minutes, Yan's soul consciousness had turned into one with the entire Silver City. The city now was like a part of his body. He could see everything inside the city. He could control any magical formations or activate any barriers with his mind. Silver waves rippled from the enormous crystal. Light dots showered, shooting in different directions, entering the center of each formation and barrier. The Great Universe Soul Gathering formation under their feet started to move and transferred the energy from the top grade essence crystal underground. Just like burning energy, waves of energy surged torrentially from the ground under their feet, flooding the entire city. The door that faced the sky acted as if it were a massive tornado, wildly drawing energy from heaven and earth in the perpetual night forest, turning them into 5-colored light that naked eyes could see. The gate pulled them all and distributed them to different corners of the city. It caused a significant change in heaven and earth's energy. All creatures in the perpetual night forest at a certain level could sense this earth-shaking change. Essence chi and soul consciousness remained in Yan were drawn rapidly as the Sky Destroyer Divine Sword was taking them from him. In front of everybody, he cried in pain, then crouched on the ground just like a massive mountain was pressing on him. His face paled as sweat soaked his body. He looked miserable. Yan, little Yan, Master. Li Zhengrong, Yang Tian Emperor, and Di Shan couldn't hold their screams. They wanted to step forward and help him. Yan crouched on the ground, wiggling and waving his hands. He shook his head, his face distorted as he was panting like a wild animal. "Don't come near. No one can help me." As he was the owner of the Sky Destroyer Divine Sword, the sword only took his energy. No one could help him. If he couldn't resist this challenge, he would vanish, turning into ashes together with the Silver City and the Sky Destroyer. Everybody was begrudging. Young Tian Emperor had his eyes reddened, and his muscular body shuddered. Bing Qing Tong and Han Shui bit their red lips, tears lingering in their eyes. Crack, crack, crack. Sounds of breaking bones echoed from Yan's body. Shortly, his skin cracked and blood splashed everywhere. In just a short moment, his handsome face was covered with blood and shattered flesh. He hadn't told anybody that if the owner of the divine weapon used to subdue this utmost 8 purgatory city didn't have enough power to resist, the moment the city accepted its new master, he would endure a terrifying pain. If his power was insufficient, of course, he had to endure tremendous torture. Perhaps his body would be crushed and his soul would be drained. At that time, he would explode to death right in the middle of the process. He didn't tell them anything. However, now everybody knew how strenuous and painful it was. Puff, puff. Yan's blood streamed down from his body, flowing into some special puddles and ponds under his feet, seeping into the silver crystal. There were pieces of flesh flowing together with his blood. Yan's body was muscular and robust. However, at this moment, he was bony like a skeleton that had no blood or meat. This view was so pathetic people didn't dare to watch any longer. Young Tian Emperor understood this pain. When using the immortal rebirth secret to quench the body, even a madman couldn't endure the pain that was beyond the human body. The pain Yan was enduring included a soul-level pain, which was several times more severe. Young Tian Emperor wasn't afraid that Yan couldn't endure this pain. However, he was afraid that Yan had risked his life to withstand it. Under his tough willpower, his soul would fall first. While he didn't notice, Yang Tian Emperor's fingers had dug into his palms, with blood dripping. His eyes were bloodshot, and his face was grim, as he was trying to control himself. Bing Qing Tong and Han Shui didn't dare to see it anymore. Tears rolled down their faces. They turned away, their shoulders shuddered while trying to control their crying. At this moment, Chao Qiudao, Ling Ming, Li Zhengrong, and Di Shan bent their bodies, their eyes full of pain and sadness. After this, I, Chao Qiudao, make a vow that I will follow Yan for my whole life. Staying silent for a while, Chao Qiudao bent his body, speaking in a low tone, his face respectful. Fan Xiangyun and the other warriors standing behind him all heard his vow. They didn't say anything but kneeled down, bowing to Yan as they were shouting their vows in their hearts. Yan had used all of his power to protect each of them. Everybody witnessing this event understood how meaningful it was. They all had great respect toward Yan. On the city wall in the outer region, Long Ju and Long Ying were watching. Of course, they couldn't see the fierce master acceptance ceremony in the center of the city. However, they could feel the tremendous change of the entire city. Thick energy flooded the area, as all barriers and formations had been activated. Torrential energy surged unceasingly. This is the oldest master acceptance ceremony. If that kid is the real owner of the Silver City, I'm afraid he is experiencing the most painful and terrible moment. He could vanish in any second. Longju wore a complicated complexion, but his eyes showed his respect towards the young man. He's too young to reach the stage. However, he nailed it. Such a brilliant genius. Is the master acceptance ceremony that painful? Longing was astounded. If his realm is high enough, it isn't so painful. However, he is only at the peak of spirit realm. Usually, the more powerful the formation is, the bigger the dangers and pain that the owner will receive during the oldest formation master acceptance ceremony will be. Long Ju explained. I can see that this Silver City can attack even the third sky of true God realm warriors. This means, when the city conducts its master acceptance ceremony, the counterforce the formation releases can be compared to the power of true God realm warriors. Longing discolored, shouting, Does he want to die? Longju contemplated for a while and then shook his head. Who knows? Anyway, if he tries to get over it, his willpower and toughness will reach an unimaginable level. No Mara could harm him. This will facilitate his cultivation towards the king god realm, as he could endure things normal people can't. When he enters the king god realm, he won't be afraid of anything. He can keep his heart safe from fears or worries. He will be complete. Is he that excellent? Long Ying was startled. Grandpa, I have never seen you acknowledge anybody that much. Is he worth it? His realm isn't as high as Lin Ming's group, but his will, his mentality, and his brutal thought of having no fear of death has surpassed Lin Ming. Long Ju kept complimenting. I won't highly evaluate Lin Ming until she reaches the king god realm. But if this kid can get over today's challenge and no one kills him, in this Grace mainland, he will become the one amongst the human clan that has the highest possibility to reach the king god realm. How about Xia Xin Yen of the Pure Land? Long Ying's soft body shivered, her face disbelieving. That little girl has a fortune that no one could compare with. However, the king god realm doesn't require only a good fortune. Longju shook his head. This young man, as far as I am concerned, has a bigger chance to succeed than that little girl. If I have to predict who will succeed, I will bet on him. His heart is incomparably strong. Grandpa, if he survives this calamity, when the 7 ancient factions come to kill him, what would you do? Longing thought for a while and then asked seriously. If he is still alive, I'll choose him, said Longju resolutely. Long Ying's soft body trembled. She covered her mouth, her face disbelieving. You're tuning in to the Phoenix Knights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.